Hello everyone, this is Sidekick Jason with a live stream here to celebrate 100,000 subscribers. So I think that there's some confusion as I had a different live stream scheduled and now I'm starting this one. So I'm going to take just a moment and try and make sure we get everyone who was in the other one over here on this one. So just give me one moment while I go through and try and direct people. Lynette, do you have anything you'd like to say while I'm doing that?
But go, Jason. I'm very proud of my husband for doing this. Thank you to everybody for having, helping him get to this point, because he works really hard, and I'm glad that he can do it for others.
Well, thank you. That's my sweet wife for you, everyone. So, okay, looks like, wow, okay, so far we've got 46 people. I think almost everyone's moved over from the other one. Is there another? I can't find it anymore. I tried deleting it. Let's see. Seeing a lot of familiar faces and names in the live chat. Are you guys aware? Can you guys see the other live stream that was here before? I know there were a lot of people on it chatting. Want to make sure that they're all over here first before we get going on it. So, see what you guys have to say. It's gone. Okay. Sounds like, okay, I think we're good to start there. So, let's see. I'm going to take a moment. Let's see. I'm going to broadcast my screen now. Give me a second. Oh, come on. What is it doing? One second. Okay, there we go. Now I think we're rolling. Okay, so what I've done is I've set up a fun little slideshow to go through while I'm chatting here, so you guys can just enjoy lovely images of season 3 and all the filming I did 2 summers ago. So a lot of these images you'll probably notice are not remake images; they're actual, like, they're legitimately from season 3 and season 4 of my series. So yeah, because most of the filming that I did was actually for those, not for remakes. Remakes were on the side for that. So, okay. Well, first of all, I just want to thank you all so much for subscribing. This is such an amazing opportunity to pass 100,000 subscribers. I'm really grateful for you guys, taking the, to take the time to hit the button. I'm just really happy that so many of you have actually, just enjoyed my content and have, enjoyed it enough to subscribe. So I wanted to take just a moment, I'll explain the agenda for this live stream. We got a lot of fun stuff going on with it. So first off, I'm going to chat here just for a minute. I'm going to talk about kind of the history of my channel, what's happened over the years, and kind of what's going on in the future. After that, I'm going to bring in Enterprising Engine and DieselD199, who are 2 of my closest friends who I've had here in the Thomas community. And then we're going to chat for a little bit. And then after we've chatted for a while, I've got quite a fair-sized list of guests who will be joining us, and there's actually going to be two separate groups. So we'll have the first group come on and we'll chat for quite a while, and then we'll bring in the second group. One of the groups is mainly focused on the writing team for my series. So like we'll kind of talk about some of the things about my series going forward, maybe be a little vague about certain things, not give everything away. And then the other group is actually kind of a Thomas Creator Collective reunion, where a lot of us are coming together who used to work on the TCC as a team. So we're going to catch up and have some fun with that. So I'm excited. This is going to be a great live stream, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun. So let's see. So first off, with my series, so let me talk about the creation of my channel, kind of go over a history of how, I mean, how did we get to 100,000 subscribers, kind of what the road was to it. I was going to prepare like a PowerPoint that like actually had a slideshow that showed through the years and stuff, but I ran out of time. I've been busy. I actually had a meeting with some people from Adobe today on a project that I'm working on for them. So I was a little preoccupied with that. But what happened initially is I had, like, if you've seen my Journey by Rail behind the scenes video, I kind of give a brief explanation about what got me started. And I was in about 8th grade at the time. And there was, Thomas had just started, it had switched over to CGI. It was, the Sharon Miller era. It was very low quality. And that's what, seeing that, I just wanted to kind of not recreate my childhood, but part of me is, part of me wanted to bring Thomas back in some ways to what I knew it as, because the Thomas that I knew and what was, really special to me was clearly different than what we saw in that era of the show. And I felt like kids deserve better in some ways. And I thought, I'd love to be able to create something and share that. Then obviously having the inspiration of, seeing DieselD199's videos and some of the other videos from different Thomas YouTubers, inspired me that, I could create this myself. So what happened is initially I got all excited and I wrote out 30 story ideas. And those are the exact same 30 story ideas that are season 1. So I was, in 8th grade at the time when I did this. Then it took me about a year to write them all out entirely as full stories. They were written on paper. Later, I had to go through and actually type all of them, which was a huge pain. I definitely prefer just typing now rather than writing in hand. But I did it at school a lot of times after I'd finished my homework, which is a lot of the reason why it was on paper. So I write out the stories. Then I actually took the time and made shot lists, because initially I had actually built a huge layout. And if you've gone back and seen some of my first videos, like the first 10 videos I've ever published, you'll see some big now that I actually own a lot more, I would say that they're fairly reasonable size large layouts. I mean, I could create a lot bigger now, but anyways, so I created a big layout and I was going to film on a big set, but then my parents said, okay, you got 2 weeks that you can film in the garage. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to film these 30 stories in 2 weeks. And so then I started filming. And then after filming 4 stories, I realized this was a stupid idea and there's no way I'm going to finish it. And so that's why the first 4 episodes of season 1 are actually what am I thinking of? They are James and the Tunnel Trouble, Toby's New Coach, Thomas's Special Guest, and Luck of the Scottish. So those 4 episodes, that's why they are significantly low quality compared to everything else, was because they were the original stuff that I had filmed. I did film the episode Don't Be Quick. I did it as a kind of a dry run. So I never was so I filmed the whole episode on this layout. There's no scenery or anything. It's just a track layout. And I couldn't pull the footage off the camera. It was burnt to one of those mini DVDs, but I could never extract the footage from it. So that's a lost thing that I'll probably never get. But I mean, it was such poor quality. I don't know if I'd ever really want to see it again. But anyways, what happened was then I decided to do it by block filming, where I would create a set and then I would film everything that takes place for the whole season on it. And then I'd take down the set and move to the next one, repeat the process until I did it all. I decided at that time that I would go beyond just doing a first season, so that way I could, get the most out of those sets. And I kind of figured, if I always went beyond a single season, that would give me more incentive to keep going with my series. So that is why season 2 has 13 episodes that are the same exact style as season 1, because they were filmed with season 1. And so I was filming 43 episodes. Actually, yeah, 43 episodes when I was filming my first season, and I filmed on roughly 40 sets. And I mean, they were pretty good for starting out. The real issue, I think, with my first season was the camera quality. I was using one of those like flip cameras that were like really popular during that day and age, but they're really not that good of quality. And I couldn't ever get a low shot, which is why everything is kind of like looking down in season 1. So shout out to Jolly Good Idea Films for sending in $5 in the super chat. Thank you so much. It looks like DieselD199 is in the comments too, an enterprising engine. We've got Joel, EV Machine, JPLNER. Nice to see lots of familiar faces. So shout out to you all. So then what happened is I was in 9th grade at this point, and I filmed all of season 1 and half of season 2 in 9th grade. And then after spending that whole year filming, I started editing, and I spent my whole sophomore year of high school editing my first season. It wasn't until the middle of my junior year that season 1 finally aired. So I've been working on this project for about almost 4 years at that point, before anything was actually published on my channel. And then, I published at season 1 week at a time for that whole year. And I went from about 300 subscribers up to 1,000 subscribers. And season 1 was complete. And at that point, the rest of season 2 had been scripted and everything. And I was already building and creating the sets that you see in the narrow gauge sets, like the much better quality buildings and things. I was building those at the time that season 1 was being published for the first time. And so that was kind of the order of things. So then season 1 stopped, and I didn't have any more videos to publish. So it just kind of ended right there. And then I had a whole year on YouTube where literally there was not a single video published. So 2013, the summer of 2013 to the summer of 2014, there was not a single video published on my channel, but my channel still grew from 1,000 to 2,000 subscribers. Then I released the remake of Peter, Sam, and the Refreshment Lady, because I had just finished filming the narrow gauge episodes of season 2, and I had purposely filmed that remake along the way because I had all the sets for it. And so then I released that and a comparison of it in August of 2014, and then I didn't upload again for almost another year. So then during that time, my channel grew to about 3,000 subscribers in the next year after that. That was during the time that Tale of the Brave and then eventually The Adventure Begins came out. And then I started editing all of season 2, and I got that wrapped up. And then I started publishing the Sodor scenes for season 2. And that started in June, went to November of 2015. That was the time that DieselD199 had been nominated for a Nickelodeon's Kids' Choice Award. And so got to help him with that in that live stream and get to know more people in the fandom. Then my season 2 started to be released in November, and then it was about a month later that I was approached to join the Thomas Creator Collective, which changed things drastically because at the time I had actually moved off to college and I wasn't planning on filming. So season 2 was kind of going to be it with my series. There was no there was nothing in sight that when I would ever be able to film again. So then I joined the Thomas Creator Collective, which allowed me to film. I actually would take the weekends from school and I would drive home. And my parents, we had moved to a bigger house, and so they had allowed me to set up more of a permanent film location, which is funny because I never had that in high school. All my sets were very temporary, and so it's just funny that I finally got a permanent location, but I wasn't around anymore for it. Anyways, so I filmed mostly on the weekends, but during that time, I finished writing up season 3, doing some stuff with season 4. I added a few people to the writing team for my series. My channel by the end of that school year was at roughly 4,000 subscribers. I had started dating Lynette at the beginning of that school year, and so she remembers me back when I was 3,000. So she likes to tease me that she knew me before I went big. But
it's true.
Anyways, so then what happened was, and let's see, we are at 2016 now. Then I had a couple of videos start to take off, and I spent that summer. I was working full time, but I spent my evenings doing some filming for the Thomas Creator Collective. And then I wanted to film season 3, but I didn't really have time. So when I made my big Knapford set for the Thomas Creator Collective, I decided to get the most out of it because it took a lot to build it, as you can see, with like the canopy and everything. And so then I filmed all these remakes on Knapford Station just because I had the setup, and released them one remake a day for about, I think it was August and September. Then in October or so, maybe it was September, I released My Journey by Rail. I'd been working on that for probably about 4 months at the time. I had kind of a team helping me with it. They were really nice. Well, like, they volunteered to help me create the video, and it was stellar quality. I absolutely love the work that they did. Shout out to Upside Down Music for creating the score for that. That was just absolutely wonderful. So then that was released, and at that time, my channel started to really pick up some traction. And at the end of that year, I reached 10,000 subscribers. So at the end of 2016, and I announced a Q&A that I'm still finishing right now. I started releasing the Great Race remakes. That a lot of those had gotten really popular. Then over the beginning of 2017, I started working on the. I continued filming for the Thomas Creator Collective. Season 20 came out. We got the small railway stories that came out. Those were absolutely amazing. Now, that's a fond time for me thinking back on filming, because it was fun having the season 20 episodes be released and then being able to immediately turn around and remake them, because I absolutely loved those episodes. Then I actually was prepping at that time and I finalized everything with season 3 and 4, because that summer my YouTube channel had made enough money that I could actually do it full time for the summer instead of working a full-time job. And so then I spent the whole summer filming 40 hours a week for the entire summer, which is all the footage that you see here in this slideshow. That was the summer of 2017. And so also during that time, I got to go back and meet several YouTubers in person for the first time. I got to meet Enterprising Engine 93, Thomas Wooden Railway, Upside Now, and a few others. It was a great experience, tons of fun, absolutely loved it. Then after the summer, I wasn't able to finish filming all of season 3 for the most part. I filmed about 2/3 of it. There's a lot of sets I just wasn't able to do because, a lot of the sets I still had to build the buildings for, and there just wasn't enough time. Like I had stretched myself so thin working 40 hours a week, but my goal was to finish up Tid in the Sheds, because if I at least got to that point, I knew I could release clip remakes, for the next while until I'm able to film again and finish season 3. So then 2017 finished out with the remakes with Journey Beyond Sodor and whatnot. They weren't anything too special. And then 2018 was where I started my kind of my bigger plan with what I had done filming with the footage that you see here. And so there's kind of this schedule that I've got going on right now, where on Mondays I've got Railway Series story times. Wednesdays is a clip remake. Fridays it was behind the scenes. It's going to be something else this coming year. And then Saturdays are clip comparison remakes. And so I've kind of got that schedule going, and that schedule is going to last me until 2022, because I've got enough scheduled out so far. And so that's kind of the future of the channel. Is the channel is just going to, it's this, the stuff I finished filming way back when. I'm going to, finish releasing all of that. I'm kind of pacing it out, and just hoping that, I'll be able to get back to filming as soon as possible. Right now I'm in school. I'm going to graduate this coming December. And after that, hopefully I'll be able to move into a place that I can actually set up my film set again and keep going, and hopefully get season 3 out as soon as possible. So that's kind of where things are at right now. So I've spent pretty much the last year and a half only editing stuff. Haven't done anything with the actual trains themselves in a long time. So yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed that brief history of Sidekick Jason. Yeah, so I think before I add DieselD199 and Enterprising Engine 93, I'm going to just take a moment and give you guys a special treat. I'm going to actually read for you the 26th episode of Season 3, which is called Hat Impersonators. Just one moment. All right, let's see. Gotta find it. One second, I'm having a tough time finding it. Let's see what happened. Oh, it's because the Season 3, the order of the episodes have been mixed up. So it's now the 26th episode of Season 3, but in my list it's number 8. So, okay. I found it. I was going to actually have screenshots from what I've filmed so far play while I tell the story, so you can at least visually see what's been done so far, but I wasn't able to get the PowerPoint done in time. So we're just going to have to go with this. I'm sure some shots are going to appear throughout. So yeah, anyways, let's get started. All right. Hat Impersonators, written by Sidekick Jason. It was a lovely day on the island of Sodor. James the Red Engine was busy with his usual passenger train along the main line. The sun shone and birds sang. The countryside never looked greener. James stopped at Lower Tidmouth Station. James saw Sir Topham Hatt on the platform. "Good morning, sir." But Sir Topham Hatt didn't respond. He quickly climbed into James's coach. Must be busy. The guard blew his whistle and waved his green flag. James set off down the line. As James continued through the beautiful countryside, he didn't think much of Sir Topham Hatt. He was just enjoying the splendid day and how warm it was. Ah, this is lovely. No trucks, just coaches. Soon, James arrived at Elsbridge Station. He was to connect with Thomas's train to go up Thomas's branch line. "Good afternoon, James. Your paint looks lovely in this sunshine." "Oh, thank you, Thomas. Never been better. But then again, it's always a good day when I'm pulling coaches." Sir Topham Hatt climbed out of James's coach. Thomas saw him. "Hello, sir. I have a quick question for you about tomorrow's schedule." Sir Topham Hatt looked at Thomas and then immediately climbed into Annie. "Well, that's strange. Why didn't he answer me?" "I don't know. He also didn't say anything to me earlier as well. I thought he looked busy before, but now it just looked like he was scared to talk to you. I wonder what the matter is. Maybe it's his wife's birthday again and he forgot to get a present. Oh, that can't be it. I thought Lady Hatt's birthday was last month. Oh, you're right. Well, maybe he's just getting old. You know, he has been controller for a long time. I doubt that's it. Something seems wrong. I'll ask him when he gets off." "Sounds good to me. Let me know what you find out." And both James and Thomas went their separate ways. James continued down the line and soon reached Crosby Station. But much to his surprise, Sir Topham Hatt was standing there on the platform. "Sir!" "Oh, hello, James. How's your train going today?" "But, sir, you were just aboard my train." "What? Impossible. I've been here meeting with the Crosby Station master." "But I saw you." "Are you sure you didn't just see another man in a top hat?" "I'm sure of it. He looked exactly just like you." Well, I better go make a telephone call." So Sir Topham Hatt phoned Farquhar Station at the end of Thomas's branch line. But it was too late. Thomas had already reached the station, and the man that looked like Sir Topham Hatt was gone. That evening, Sir Topham Hatt came to see the engines at the sheds. He had some very important news for them all. So I have an announcement for you. Today, we had a very odd incident occur on the railway, but we found out that this incident had been occurring for quite some time. Apparently, someone has been posing as me in order to ride for free on the railway. The engines gasped. So, was that who I saw today, sir? Asked Thomas. Yes, Thomas, which explains the confusion you and James had. Looks like someone has a twin, Donald and Douglas snickered to each other. Sir Topham Hatt rolled his eyes. This is no funny business. In order to catch the man and not allow for any more problems to occur, I am requiring that everyone that boards the coaches must have tickets, even if the person looks like me or my wife or anyone in my family who normally rides for free. I just wanted you all to know that to make sure, I just wanted you all to know that to make sure this new policy happens. And with that, Sir Topham Hatt left to go inform others. The next day, Sir Topham Hatt was preparing to go to his grandson Stephen's Little League cricket game at Wellsworth. Sir Topham Hatt decided to hop on board Stepney's passenger train to get to Wellsworth. Because he had walked straight from his office, no one checked to see if Sir Topham Hatt had his ticket. What Sir Topham Hatt didn't know was that he had left the ticket on his desk inside his office. Stepney arrived at Wellsworth, and Sir Topham Hatt went to the cricket game. Later that day, Sir Topham Hatt returned after watching the game. He had arrived just in time to watch his return train to Knapford leaving. Oh, bother! Sir Topham Hatt went to pull out his ticket so he could catch the next train, but realized that he didn't have it. Oh no, how on earth am I going to get back to my office now? Sir Topham Hatt saw a goods train on the other platform. He knew that the train was heading up to Tidmouth and would stop at Knapford. This gave Sir Topham Hatt an idea. He crossed the pedestrian bridge and climbed into the cattle car. The cattle car was full of chickens and eggs that were being transported to Tidmouth. Oh, well. Hello, chickens. The chickens stared blankly at Sir Topham Hatt. All right, well, I'm going to ride with you on our way to Tidmouth now, so I hope that we can all just sit here quietly on the journey back. Suddenly, there was a lot of noise from inside the cattle car. The chickens were howling and clucking. Workmen ran to see what all the fuss was about. They were surprised to see Sir Topham Hatt inside. Where's your ticket, sir? Well, you see, I accidentally left it back at my office at Knapford. Well, sir, I don't know if you're the real Sir Topham Hatt or the imposter. But either way, we have to kick you out. So the workmen kicked Sir Topham Hatt out of Wellsworth Station. Sir Topham Hatt didn't know what to do, so he began walking down the road towards Knapford. It was a long walk back. Oh, I'll be lucky if I make it back before the sun goes down. Then Sir Topham Hatt heard a familiar honk, honk. It was Caroline the car. Her driver pulled up next to him. Her driver is a cricket player who had just helped at Stephen's Little League game. Is that Sir Topham Hatt I see? Said the driver. Yes, I am. Well, what are you doing here, sir? Should you be riding a train on your railway? Shouldn't you be riding a train on your railway? Sir Topham Hatt explained what happened with the imposter and about forgetting his ticket. Oh dear, that sounds awful. How about I give you a ride back to Knapford? It's on the way. Oh, that would be fantastic. Thank you so much. So Sir Topham Hatt hopped in Caroline and headed back to Knapford. Caroline was pleased to be taking Sir Topham Hatt. She knew how important and well-respected of a person he was. Eventually, Sir Topham Hatt made it back to Knapford. Word had already spread that the imposter was seen again at Wellsworth, trying to sneak a ride in a cattle car. James was telling Sir Topham Hatt all about it. Oh, well, you see, James, that was not the imposter. That was me. You, sir? But then how did you get back? Luckily, Caroline was kind enough to give me a ride back. Otherwise, it would have been a very long walk. So are you going to get rid of that rule that you have to have your ticket so this doesn't happen again? No, James, I'm going to keep this rule. I made this rule and I need to abide by it. It ruins my integrity if I'm changing the rules left and right just to make things easier for myself. That struck James deep. He had never thought about it that way. He always thought that if you were in charge, that you could make the rules as easy as possible for yourself. James could really see why so many people think so highly of Sir Topham Hatt. No wonder someone was trying to be like him. All right, and that's the story. All right, let's see. Just one moment. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed the slideshow, but I'm going to get rid of it for now. Okay, so I'm going to add my good friends DieselD199 and Enterprising Engine 93, just to give a little introduction to them. So I first met DieselD199. Well, let's see. Obviously, I explained that his videos were one of the things that inspired me to start my own channel. But I had messaged him and commented on a couple of his videos explaining, my interest in doing stuff similar to what he did. And he was very kind in responding back to me. And a lot of the initial questions that I had in helping to get me started, he was able to help explain certain things to me. And it really helped me to get started with my own series. And so we've become really good friends over the years. He invited me to join the Thomas community channel that he created. And then through that, I was able to meet Enterprising Engine 93. And the three of us and Percy Engine 619 worked on this channel. And that was kind of my only exposure to the Thomas community in a lot of ways, because I had my own channel, but really the four of us, we had a little chat, and that was pretty much the only chatting that I did related to Thomas during those years of my channel starting up and whatnot. It wasn't until I joined the Thomas Creator Collective that I, actually started doing stuff on Twitter, and that's how I met a larger amount of people in the fandom. So yeah, so these two are, especially great friends that I've had over the years who have been very helpful. It's just kind of a reunion thing to get them back here. So yeah, let's get them in. My wife's reading the comments to me right now. These are pretty funny. Thanks, you guys, for enjoying the story. It'll be fun actually, adapting it and bringing it more to life. Let's see. Okay, I found one. Let's see. 1 second. Having some technical difficulties with this. All right. I have sent the link to him. Just give him 1 moment to hop in.
Hello.
Hello.
Is it working? Can everyone hear me all right?
Sorry, you're cutting out.
Oh, am I?
Oh, you're good now. All right, now we're just waiting for Matt to come join us.
Sweet.
All right. Well, how have you been?
I've been well, I suppose. I've been on holiday, on break, really, since I released my last video for 2018. Yes, we're in 2019 now. God, that's scary. And yeah, I've started getting to work in the past couple of days. I was working on finishing up Old Slow Coach yesterday after you so graciously lent her to me all the way back in like 2016, 17. It must have been 2017.
I think it was 2016. Yeah.
Oh.
Back when I was below 10,000.
Right. Well, yeah, she's now almost done, or at least like just a new set of coaches based upon her.
Oh, I was going to ask you, do you still have the gunpowder van, narrow gauge van that I sent you with Old Slow Coach?
Yeah, I still have that. Do you want me to send it back to you?
Oh, you just send it whenever. I was just remembering, I was like, I think I sent him one. Like, I was counting through last time I was back at my parents' house.
I've got the gunpowder van, Kevin and Terrence.
Oh, okay. Well, Kevin and Terrence aren't that big of a deal, but yeah. And I won't be filming narrow gauge for a while, so whenever you can.
All right, great. Yeah, well, you know, I'll get around to it eventually.
Yeah. Man, where is Matt?
I'm not sure. He was in the chat earlier, so.
Lynette says he's dead. Let's see.
I hope not.
I just realized like how much I don't know about like controlling these live streams with other people in it, with like hosting other people involved, because I'm like, I don't know where any of the controls are.
Oh, I noticed that they've like changed it so it just says Google instead of Google Plus on the like, you know, the little watermark at the top of the screen.
Oh, thank goodness. No one liked Google Plus.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's like fully dead now. I mean, like Hangouts is now like its own separate thing.
What's
URL?
Google Duo? Isn't that like I've seen stuff about it. It looks like it's the exact same thing as Hangouts.
I've never even heard of this. Duo.
Oh, really?
Google.com? No.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
right,
it looks like it's like their competitor to FaceTime.
Oh, okay.
That's what it looks like.
Well, I'm gonna send a link again to Matt. Send it over Facebook this time. Matt, I don't know where you are, but we'd love to have you. Okay. Oh. Let's see.
No, he probably just went to the bathroom.
Well, he just messaged me, so I think he has it. Let's see. Oh, so funny story. So you've seen how well, maybe not all of you know this that are watching the stream. So there's been kind of some interesting stuff going on with YouTube lately. So when my channel passed 100,000 subscribers, I immediately messaged them to get verified on YouTube and get the verification badge, and they gave it to me without any problems. Well, our good friend Caleb Train, who also passed 100,000 about a month ago, I would say. He messaged them, and then they've given him a huge list of problems of like, oh, you need to send us this, you have to prove this, and all this stuff, which has been incredibly frustrating for him. I feel terrible that he has to go through all that. Well, just like 2 days ago, I messaged YouTube again to ask about getting my silver play button, because I haven't received the code yet for that. And when I messaged them, I don't know if the person didn't know what they were doing or whatever, but they messaged me back and like told me that I needed to do all those things as well, that I had to verify my account, like to verify my account, I needed to prove this and that, and like all these different things. And I was like, I'm asking about the play button, not about like the verification badge. I didn't want to tell them that I already had it, but I don't know what was going on with them. But it just sounds like YouTube doesn't quite know what they're doing.
I mean, knowing Google, you're probably talking to a bot anyway.
Probably.
So that was probably like an automated response. I wouldn't worry about the play button. You just need to wait. It took Kikere like, I think, several months before he actually got the link. It will just appear in like your dashboard. I mean, even for me, and I think I was like gaining subscribers like at a faster rate than he was at the same time. It still took weeks, I think, before it finally appeared. I think from their perspective, you know, they want to make sure that you know, your channel is going to have some buffer zone, so you don't end up in some situation where you give someone a play button and then a bunch of people unsubscribe and now they're below 100,000.
Yeah, makes sense.
Matt, you made it.
Oh, thank goodness. Well, howdy, everybody. So what's been going on in this fine occasion?
Not much, but Trent, I just wanted to shout out your comment about the thin controller. I'm dying, like still dying on the inside about that comment. It was hilarious.
I'll do a parody once Jason releases the episode.
Oh, please do a CGI parody of my own original episode. I'd love that.
So Matt, what's the latest with your channel? What's going on? What can people expect? Is self-fulfilling prophecy going to be out soon?
Yes, chapter 2 should be out in the spring, but I don't want to promise it because so many things can go wrong, and sometimes I'm not very good at gauging how long it takes to do something. But there's plenty of things in the works, a few episodes, a few random videos, and one thing that I've been really dragging my feet about is a very, how should I put this? A very blunt review on Thomas Wood, which I have been dragging my feet about because I don't know whether or not.
Oh, that's old news. It's all come and gone now.
Oh, I know, but this is about like I'm going to review the Thomas Wood 2.0 now with added paint.
Okay.
So that's a little more fresh and hip, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
So I'm going to be taking a break in the winter, but I'll probably be I'm going to try to make a weekly comeback in March.
Nice. That's about the same time that I have my videos starting to, they're scheduled again to begin airing is again in March.
Oh, well, makes sense. That way I can go into a cocoon for a bit. So I'm all good with that.
Yeah.
Oh, but I've been working on, if you don't mind if I plug the CSC while I'm on here.
Oh, please do. Please do.
Classic Series Creations, a new collab channel. I've been working on that as well, and our delayed Christmas special should be coming out again. And
in February?
Boy.
Yeah, so it should be coming out in a week or so.
Well, that'll be good to see.
Yeah,
and so the Classic Series Creations also has kind of a full lineup for next year, if I'm correct, for future stories that'll be released, right?
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff being worked on. And we're kind of on like the Christmas episode is an exception, but we're trying not to release anything for a month or two. So it all comes out like more steadily. So you'll look to something like every week or every other week for a little bit. So that's the plan for now. But yeah, like things have been looking really great and it's been really fun and it's just been, you know, it's just kind of nice to kick back and think classic for a little bit, especially in these troubled times.
Yes, these troubled times indeed.
Should we even mention anything about these troubled times, or should we just ignore it?
I think if we start, we won't stop.
That's probably the best way to put it. But yeah, going back to the CSC, if you haven't subscribed, you definitely want to. There's a lot of great stuff in it. They've released 5 episodes so far. A huge lineup for next year. I believe I'm going to be a narrator on one of the episodes, and I'm filming or using some footage from my series for another part of another episode. So yeah, there's great stuff going on with that. So please go subscribe if you haven't, for sure.
And if I might just say, I think that now is a really good time in the community to be working on collaborative projects. I mean, previously, you know, it was usually people doing everything solo for a long time. And I feel that we are at a stage where I think a lot of people perhaps would be nervous about getting started as like just one individual doing everything, because I think the expectations of the fandom is like a lot higher than it used to be. But the advantage is that more so now than previously, we have a lot of people who are very good at doing very specialized things. Whether that's like creating music, you know, back in the days, it was like you went with Captain Punjab's midis, or that was it. Like you had to rip stuff from the show. Now it seems like there's just so many great musicians out there, so beautifully recreating music from the show. There's so many fantastic modelers out there, and artists and everything else. And so, you know, like if you're perhaps nervous about sort of doing like we used to, just doing everything yourself, I would say that, you know, if you've got a group of friends and you specialize in different areas, you should definitely think about working on something collaboratively instead. And I think that would be a great way to get more content, video content on YouTube out of the fandom, because right now it seems like there's a lot of people just making individual bits and pieces of what would be a video and posting it on Twitter. And so I think it would be better if more people came together and worked collaboratively. And I'm really glad to see CSC working so well so far.
No, absolutely. And I think that was so eloquently put, how things have changed, where we weren't collaborative because we didn't know each other as well. And the community was so much younger. But because of Twitter and because of all the years we spent together, people just know each other more and are more comfortable meeting up, talking to each other, asking people to join them. Like, that's probably also the most positive angle I have seen about social media and how it shaped the Thomas fandom. Like, this is a whole essay right here.
I definitely agree, considering, like, I mean, there's been drama even, you know, yesterday, and a lot of people are saying, like, you know, the fandom is so terrible, like, there's so many toxic people, Twitter's awful and whatnot, but, like, you know, look at, like, what actually can come from it, too. I think that's the reason why most people still stick around, is because there's a lot of great things that can happen. And yeah, you have to deal with the negative side every once in a while, but I think overall there's a positive, you know, positive product that comes out of it in the end.
Yeah, I was watching like some of Joey's original like Trenino Thomas and Friends videos the other day from like 2007. Just it's just amazing just how much things have changed in what, like the 12 years since then. And like you know, I certainly would like imagine if my 12, 13-year-old self was like coming into this today, I would be probably quite intimidated by the quality of things that are out there. But yeah, I think to collaborate, you know, then you really have a chance to make something that you know, really stands up to, I guess, the quality in the fandom. But that being said, I would say, like, you know, even if things are not that good, you know, still have a go, because that may be a way for you to meet people and then do something collaboratively afterwards.
Definitely. I think it's interesting too, kind of talking about like coming into it like with fresh eyes, like if we were all starting from like at this point in time, like the perspective of things has changed so drastically. Like, I mean, back, you know, Trent, watching your videos initially, and what kind of inspired my channel, like, I don't remember exactly how many subscribers you had, but it was like, I think you were like 3,000 or 4,000 at the time or something. And that seemed like such a huge amount to me back in the day. And, you know, for the Thomas community, it was. And it's amazing how things have changed over time. Like, I mean, now you're at close to, well, you're above 350,000. And then you've got me, Thomas Wooden Railway, Caleb Train, and a couple others who are now above 100,000. Like, you know, it's cool how the community as a whole has grown as well and kind of changed the perspective of it. But I can see how that can be very intimidating for people coming in. Like, how will they ever bridge that gap and get to that point?
Yeah, well, I would say that you're a really good example, though, of someone who's like grown very, very quickly on the platform. It's certainly not going to be as difficult for people starting today to get to 100,000 subscribers. It's not going to take as long if they're as determined as it was for us, because like back when when I started in like 2008, like there was just very few people on YouTube in general, you know, like even back then, I don't even really know if we had people above 1 million by that point. And I think certainly one of the things that did change that made it really big is that people didn't have to make an individual YouTube account. They could just subscribe with their Google account. So that's just an example of one of the things that has changed over the years that has sort of sped things up a little bit. And yeah, there's more people on YouTube today than I think there was ever at any point in the past. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about sub count.
Just a quick shout out to Knapford Productions. Thank you for uploading the HD Classics channel, like all the episodes on there. That is such stellar quality and a great resource for anyone in the fandom.
I agree, 100%.
Top notch.
I mean, just today, I think he uploaded the pack episodes. So like a special shout out to you. Thank you so much for doing that, because it's been huge. I think for everyone.
And if I might just put in a request, do you think you could upload the season 3 with the early UK narrations to the HD channel?
Are we just going to wait in silence until he responds in the comments?
No, we can keep talking. I just wanted to put that out there. I was just thinking the other day.
The anticipation if we just wait. That would be pretty funny.
He just walks into Trent's room and just commandeers his mic and says, "Here I am, surprise!" Oh, there he is.
Yeah. Okay, it's happening. It's happening.
Sweet.
I'm looking forward to that.
Great.
I mean, it's really good because I'm glad that the channel has survived, because as we know, of course, there was like previous channels in the past that I think have been taken down by Hit Entertainment over time, or maybe they were just deleted by the people who ran them. And to have all of the episodes in such good quality in one place, I mean, it's as good as we're going to get to, getting a complete collection on Blu-ray, which is still the dream, but and for me, it's like it's quite nice, because you go to the what to watch page, when you're checking the stats in your channel, and there'll usually be just a random classic series episode there, and you just give it a watch through. And it's great to just have that constant reconnecting, I think, with the original source material.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I just totally blanked out on what I was going to say. Never mind.
Oh, they're even doing audio restoration for it.
Oh, that's impressive.
That's definitely something I'll be looking forward to.
Definitely. Okay, well, I think I'm going to add a few more people who have been part of my writing team over the past, I'd say about year, 2 years. Some of them have been helping me since 2014. So I'm going to add a couple of them in, so that way they can join and we can talk about various Thomas topics. It doesn't just have to be related to my series. And Trent, Matt, you guys are welcome to stay for the rest of the stream. We'll have some other people joining us as well. So yeah.
All right, sweet. Looking forward to it.
All right. Well, you guys can chat while I try and figure out how to add more people with all this. Hopefully it doesn't take as long as last time.
Sure. Perhaps we can take an opportunity to answer a few questions from the chat.
Oh, yeah.
While Jason works on all that.
Oh, no.
My wife's laughing, and I can't tell if she's like laughing with us or if she's just laughing at me. Oh, she's laughing at me.
She's so supportive.
It's both.
I know, right? But she deals with Thomas on a daily basis from me, so.
You're a saint, Lynette.
James the Swag Engine asked DieselD199, what was your inspiration? I actually started making videos before I knew there was a Thomas community, and so my inspiration was just the original show. Although after I did find videos on YouTube, I did really enjoy Tommy, Thomas and Friends, Miss Oliver and Blossom series, and Captain Punjab series. What about you, Matt? What were your inspirations?
I was a lurker on YouTube for years. So I was watching all these videos, and I never commented or anything. I didn't even have an account, but I loved Miss Oliver and Blossom, Sacred Wolfie, Thomas Wooden 123, and Thomas Wooden 123 was very special because he inspired me to use fishing line. And when I watched his videos, it just made it seem like it was possible for me to make them. Like no one else made me feel that way. And that's why I think he holds a special place in my heart. Just because I was like, I can get some fishing line. I can do this. So even though I love what everyone was doing, he was the one that I think got me to get up and do it.
There definitely needs to be more fishing line out there, just based on some of the stuff I've seen.
Yes.
We've been blessed with the presence of Annie C. Welcome.
Hello.
Oh,
I have a different profile picture because this is my alternate YouTube account because apparently I gave Jason the wrong email. So
You can't blame me on that.
sorry about that.
You're good. So Annie, how have you been?
Oh, I've been great. I've been trying to get my series back in order and just fooling around with countryside sets and just watching all the great content that's starting to come out this year.
Nice. Well, I'm excited to see your work.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited to see what you're going to make this year too, because I remember you were telling us about all the plans earlier on.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be anything too crazy. I mean, it's just going to be a continuation of remakes. I mean, obviously remakes that haven't been released yet on my channel, but so nothing too crazy in the types of videos. 2019 is going to be a pretty tame year for me, I think, overall. But yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Henry, welcome. Or not.
He doesn't have a microphone.
Oh, does he not?
I don't know.
Well, Henry, it's nice to have you.
Henry,
Even
hello.
like we're all like shouting it like a mute.
Oh.
Let's see. Well, let's start talking about something Thomas General related. Favorite episodes from the classic series.
Oh,
I
Old
think
Iron is
Winter
great.
Henry.
Wait, what?
Old Iron is great.
Old Iron, nice.
Hello.
Hey, there we go.
whoa.
There we
No
go.
longer on mute.
Welcome.
My internet has been absolute trash for the past 5 months, and it's actually working today, so I'm happy.
Well, welcome. Glad it's working.
So, how's everybody doing?
Well,
Pretty good.
We're doing good. Yeah.
Well, that's always a positive thing to hear.
How are you doing?
Great, thank you.
So, Henry, what's your favorite classic Thomas episode?
This is a hard one. If I had to choose, it would probably be something from season 4, because that was the best season, hands down. But probably Fish. I liked Fish.
That is a good one. Although the ending I felt was kind of just like, it just kind of ends like all of a sudden. That was the only issue I had with that episode.
I feel like if they had triple header, it would have been a lot better with that ending. But I don't know. I still felt like it was a fun episode. And plus, too, it had Henry and Duck, which are like two of my favorite characters, and it was amazing because of that.
You know, thinking about it, they probably could have done triple header with the sets that they had in season 4 if they like really wanted to, because they had Gordon's Hill, Wellsworth, the Workstation, Knapford. Like,
That would have been amazing to see. I still hope that eventually we might get a few more Railway Series adaptations, but that's wishful thinking. But
that's very wishful thinking.
I like to be positive.
It's so sad that that's the case. Like we got there. We got like a whole new railway, and then it was just ripped away from us.
Because Jock was one of my favorite Railway Series characters, and plus, too, if we had Frank, we could have had a rap battle, and so that would have been fun too.
Oh boy, someday I'm gonna pay the price for that.
Is that the buried truck I see?
Hello, welcome.
Is this thing on? Can everyone hear me?
Hello.
Oh,
What are we staring at? Or do we not want to know?
Does everyone actually hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Hang on. How do I turn my? Oh, I gotta turn my camera off. I was like, "Where's Ringo Starr?" Does everyone actually hear me? Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, we got some echo.
Hang on. How do I turn my camera off? I was like, "Where's Ringo Starr?"
Oh
no, it's going to loop.
All Canadians are not afraid of the dark.
Okay, Michael, it's coming on your end. The sound. I can't think of the word. What is it?
So if you have this, maybe if you have the stream open in another window, maybe you just gotta.
Yeah, I just closed the stream. I think that's gonna help. So I'll just be in the Hangouts here.
If that doesn't, maybe try headphones that have speakers on them. That usually takes care of all of that.
Oh, that's fair. I'll survive this way. I'm sure someone can read out any pertinent chat information to me. I'm so upset that my avatar isn't Ringo Starr. I don't know what's going on with Google right now.
You can just pop out the chat, my dude.
How do you do that? I'm so bad with technical things. That's all right. Who cares? The conversation is here in the now. We're good.
We're here. We make a stream together.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us.
The max, I believe, is 9 or 10. So there should be a few more. There seems to be trouble with the link. Let's see. So, Michael, what's the latest with you? Any great writings we can expect coming from you?
There's always something in the pipeline, you know. I will tease a little thing that I'm working on with Aiden, aka Riddy Ronan. We are working on a story that involves Thomas, and I'm not going to say who. I want it to be a bit of a surprise, but I will say it's probably the best character from the span of seasons 8 to 12. So that's going to be, you know, that's coming. That's being worked on as we go. Other than that, I mean, I've always got the gears spinning for Magic Railroad related things. That's constantly going.
Well, next year is the 20th anniversary, believe it or not.
It is. That's why I got to plan something for it. Got to do something big. So, yeah, there's a few ideas floating around for that. Big shout out. Carson and I have our very delayed Thomas and the Magic Railroad Christmas special coming out soon.
Oh, yes.
So that is going to be very exciting, featuring the talents of our very own Enterprising Engine 93, of course.
Woo!
And other than that, I don't know. I just kind of work on random things here and there. I like being in Jason's writing chat because it kind of spurs me on to think of things I wouldn't normally think of. So I am trying to think of something for the most recent little writing theme month, but the ideas are a little slow in that department. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone's been kind of a little slow on this month in general, so I haven't had the chance to write mine out yet. And we've only got a couple days left before they're due, so hopefully I can
whip something out as well.
I actually have like 5 sentences left in mine.
Oh, nice.
I was just trying to keep it like under the radar, but at the same time I was like, should I mention anything? I don't know, but I'm excited for it or y'all to read it.
I know Flute's working on hers as well, so I mean, we will for sure have a couple for this month, so that'll be good.
We always have good stories, so I'm excited to see what everybody comes up with.
Yeah, this is a good group of writers and people we've got in here for sure.
I couldn't agree more. I think the fun thing about doing this writing competition once a month, because obviously with the change in direction with the TV series and whatnot, you know, I really miss when the season 20 DVDs came out. Like that was absolutely like fun. Like it was just so much fun to like pop in the DVD or watch it for the first time and see multiple episodes. And doing kind of this writing competition kind of in a similar way gets to have that, where it's like, here's, you know, maybe 5 or 6 fresh, new, fun story ideas. And they've all been kind of around a theme too, like how we had Halloween in October, Arsdale in November, and then Christmas time in December. And that it's been fun because it's kind of like getting a DVD about those particular topics, and it being able to read it. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you know, I do also really like that in the writing chat in particular, we stick to the season 1 to 5 characters. I don't know what it is, but I don't always enjoy writing for the CGI characters. I feel more comfortable with the classics that I grew up with. So yeah, I think it's fun stuff.
Definitely. I want to get everyone's thoughts on this, because I've been thinking about something over the past couple of weeks. Like, if you have were asked to describe a character of the classic series, do you feel like it's harder to like explain their personality than it is to write about them? Because like when you like think of the theme that they were given in the classic series, like you can kind of like envision their personality, like, and how they would handle a situation, but not necessarily like write out specifically like what their characteristics are. Like I feel like I know the engines because of the music fits them.
Well, here's my perspective on it is that I feel like in the classic series you had this, I mean, compared to now, a smaller group of characters. And I feel like the writers, well, I say the writers, but really we're talking about, you know, Britt and David Mitton and, you know, the Rev himself, of course. I feel like they used the characters they had because of budgetary constrictions, and they use them in different settings. Like, part of the reason I love Toby is that there's so many different Toby stories out there. You have ones where he's just sort of quaint and, you know, wholesome and like an old man. And then you also get, out of nowhere, Toby in the Flood. And it's like, you know, there's something for everyone there. And I feel like that's the difference between the current series, because it's just, you know, you describe any of the newbies and it's like, tell me about Porter. Oh, he's the one with 3 domes. They haven't done much with him. You know?
I think it's,
oh, he's the one who has no cap.
In the classic series, the characters had a bit more depth to them. And I think there has been a real focus for the writing team in the CG series about having one-dimensional characters. You know, they just have this one particular thing about them. And in fact, taking characters from the classic series and making them one-dimensional. They have to have a thing about them, you know, whether it's like, you know, they bring back Duck and all they can do with him is, you know, the Great Western Way or whatever it is.
Oh, that's what I despise the most. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And you can really notice it on, again, we're bringing up my main dude, Henry, because he turned into like ultimate feeble man from like a condescending old man that can be like nice, but he can also be like a jerk to people if he really wanted to.
Now, in that same breath, though, Henry is really interesting in the CGI series because I feel like they can't keep him consistent. You get episodes like, obviously, Henry spots trouble and the way he acted in Legend of the Lost Treasure, where he's kind of just like this scaredy cat hypochondriac. But then you get Henry's hero and Henry gets the Express, even Henry in the Dark. Like, it seems like it's 2 different characters that they're trying to mash into one. And it's just so weird to me. Like, with how they are so one-dimensional with the characters now, it's just odd that they keep flip-flopping between these two Henrys almost.
It seems like they keep on trying to flip between the two personalities he had in the beginning and the ending of Big Strong Henry from like
Exactly.
They don't know what to stick on.
I think they have far more characters than they know what to do with, and since most episodes seem to have to include Thomas in some form or another, I guess they're kind of limited in how much character development they can give to each newbie, because it's like every year you have 20 new engines, and that's 20 new personalities, but you can't give them all personalities, so each of them is relegated to, like the Barry Truck said, Porter. Oh, yeah, he has 3 domes. Yeah.
Mm.
And that's why when I think of these new characters, I'm more inclined to think of a fan series characterization. Like I think, like for instance, oh, well, Mike, Enterprise, not Mike. Yeah, well, anyway, I'm more likely to think of a fan character. Like even, right, I'm sorry, that's who I was looking for. Milk Tanker Media. He made this whole story with Porter, and he gave him a whole personality and everything. So I'm thinking, oh yeah, that's who Porter is. But when you think of the actual show, it's just like, oh, he's got 3 domes, and that's all.
No, for sure. It's so hard because it's not about exploring the nuance anymore. Like, they have that one trick. Like, Donald and Douglas won't be in a story unless it's about the two of them as brothers. And Bill and Ben won't be in a story unless it's about them playing a trick. Like, there's one thing that you can attach to them. And in some ways, it's great because it guarantees that they'll come back. But the one character that has blown past these, like, confinements is Daisy. Like, she's become this whole other thing. And you can tell the writers love her because she'll just show up. Like, even in season 22, she just pops in and says things. And she's so much more than what she was in the Railway series. And I've always loved her.
But it always comes back to my swerves.
That is true.
My swerves.
She ain't gonna be confined by nobody.
I mean, she is just a genuinely fun character, and one that really stands out amongst the sort of, you know, banal, just friendly, happy types that just fill the island of Sodor.
She is a prime example of a character that the current team has done wonders for that Audrey and the classic series team just couldn't do. Like, I've said this about Annie and Clarabelle and Bill and Ben as well. I think their characterization in the new series is way better than it ever has been in the past. I feel like they play up the dynamic between them so much, and I think part of that is why you almost want them to go back to like the throwaway characters and see what they could come up with. Like, look what they did with Paxton and Sydney. They were just throwaway characters. They didn't say a word in the first movie they were in. And now they're like 2 of the standout characters to me. So I don't know. I would love to see them do something with, like, I don't know, Billy the Silly Tank Engine, for example. That would be awesome. You know, what could Davey Moore do for Billy that he's already done for Daisy? You know, think about that.
One character I'm also hoping that we'll see more of eventually, and would actually be Norman. Because yes. I think he's only had, like, what, 2 lines in the entire series, roughly?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and so, I don't know. I'm just hoping, because I like his personality where he, like, breaks down, but he's actually a good-hearted character. But he breaks down all the time, and I feel like that'd be something interesting to see, and they could use it for, like, comedy, since they're trying to push that heavily.
Wait, are you talking about Derek?
Norman or whatever. But
yeah, it was a joke about how they're the same character. They got
that's
the same thing breaking down.
That's what I thought, but again, my internet's not the best, so it lagged for a second, and I was like, hold on, what is this?
we haven't really seen Norman breaking down very much in the TV series. Like they've said it in his bios and stuff, but like they haven't really ever done anything with it in an episode.
No. And then
Yeah, we could have seen him get smashed up in the Great Race, and they didn't even show that.
Such a shame.
And then they also mention Dennis as well. I mean, it's just like a throwaway quote, but at the same time, it'd still be cool because they have the asset for his engine. So all they had to do is remake his face model and then like a paint scheme. So I don't think it'd be too difficult because we've already seen F. Henry's model being replastered everywhere. But you know,
it wouldn't be difficult. I suspect they were going to make Dennis originally, but then they decided that a grey character wouldn't be the best for merch.
True.
Makes sense. It's just funny that it took how many years for them to finally make the Red Express coaches, and then like 2 years later they've like recolored everything so it's not Sodor.
Yeah, that's true. Actually,
everywhere on the planet, there's a Maithwaite in China. There's a Maithwaite in Australia. There's a Maithwaite in India. Like Maithwaite is going places.
Everyone gets a Maithwaite and a Henry of choice.
Maithwaite and Henry were the real stars of Big World.
That's the railway starter pack. Whatever continent you're in, as long as you've got a Henry and a Maithwaite, you're good.
More like wait a minute, that doesn't belong there.
I think it's funny. Like we mentioned something about Big World, and it's like, yeah, let's not go there.
It's one of those things
we laugh, but it's a very hurt laugh.
Yeah.
So you say that, but now it feels like we're going to be like just avoiding talking about the elephant in the room for the whole stream.
Pretty much. Well, let's talk about the good CGI then. Favorite episodes of the Brenner era, 17 through 21.
Oh man,
Love Me Tender.
Oh, good choice, Annie. Good choice.
I actually really enjoy Skiff and the Mermaid. It's so much fun.
I think Getaway is my favorite.
What was that one again?
It's where Skiff thinks that a mermaid is coming, but it's actually just a statue. But then Sir Topham Hatt falls into Skiff and ends up lost at sea and marooned.
Oh. Now I remember. Thank you. That was brilliant.
I don't know why I was acting like this was a hard question when I know the answer. It's No Help at All.
Oh, that's such a good one.
That episode, I was so surprised when that came out because, like, I always kind of liked Timothy. Like, I thought he was very underutilized, and I liked his season 18 episodes, but just the fact that they pulled out so many stops with that one, and I love how it all, like, all the other season 19 episodes came together and were interconnected within that one. It's just so cool. Like, that was one of my big things about the CGI series, is it didn't feel like, it felt like every story or every episode was its own self-contained thing, whereas the classic series had multiple episodes that kind of ran through with each other. They were in a sequence and they all told a story together. So it was nice to see a little bit of that come back and have, you know, mentions of, oh, Emily's at the works and Salty's on the mainland kind of thing, you know, like that was really cool to me.
Wow.
It would have been cool to see that in a DVD format where those episodes like did build on each other, but I think if I remember correctly, the order of them was actually aired like in the wrong order, if I remember right.
Custom YouTube DVD, anyone?
Oh, hey, Flute.
Hey, welcome, Flute.
Hello.
Flute, when did you get here?
Just like a minute ago.
It's not
My God.
Hours of technical difficulties.
My God, like the phone app just doesn't work anymore. I really don't know what was going on, so I'm just using my laptop. And I kind of had to talk quietly because my parents are watching TV downstairs.
Oh, they don't need to watch TV. They can just listen to people talk about Thomas.
Yes.
All right, Flute, what's your favorite episode from the Brenner era?
Oh man, I love Thomas's shortcut. That was the best one for me.
Oh, I remember that one.
There was another one. Hunt the Truck. That was a great one. Sorry, my voice sounds weird. I kind of had to like tone it down a bit. But what else is there? I love Percy's Leggy Day. That's one of my favorites.
That's a good one.
Kind of reminds me of Dumbo a bit. Especially like the last part. If you all remember like the little black feather that he had and he's like using it as like a good luck charm and he just loses it and he's like, oh no, I don't have that confidence anymore. And then he just believed in himself and he flew. Oh, I love that. That's what it reminded me of.
Oh geez, spoiler alert. I have to say, I really enjoyed Three Steam Engines Gruff. I really like that they
turn on the chat here. I was looking at the chat
people talk negatively about that episode, so I'm glad someone is vouching for it.
Oh, I thought it was quite good. I like the more atmospheric episodes, and I did feel like it was a decent adaptation of like the fairy tale.
I should be ashamed of myself because I was an English major and I've never heard of that story. I'm ashamed of myself for that.
I've never heard of Three Billy Goats Gruff.
No.
Wow,
Guys, I just gotta get going, but I wanted to say this was so fun, and Jason, thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you, Annie, for joining. You've been a great friend over the years, and I'm glad you were able to come join us for a little bit.
Oh, well, it was my pleasure. I wish I could stay longer, but I actually have a music lesson tonight. I'm so sorry.
Music is great. Music is awesome.
We forgive you, Annie.
Well, thank you so much, guys. You guys have a great time for the rest of the stream. I'll catch y'all later. Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Well, guys, now that Annie is gone, I have to reveal that I have a surprise guest with me tonight.
Oh no.
Annie's twin sister?
Is it Watson?
No.
I was going to say, is it Watson?
Is it Watson?
Yes, it is.
Yay!
Lynette from the other room just shouted, "Is it Watson?"
Oh my god.
It's not Watson. It's actually Jolly Good Idea Films himself.
Mom, I'm on TV.
I mean, he's okay compared to Watson.
This is such an honor to be on someone who has 100,000 subscribers channel. I'd never gotten this honor. I've never had this type of fame, so this is pretty cool.
Well, you will soon enough with the classic series creations. We'll get it to 100,000.
Yes.
You know, it might get there. It might get there.
I wouldn't be surprised eventually.
I mean, it's hard competing with the TCC because everything they make is just, off the chart amazing. So,
Robert.
I'm sorry. I was trying to be discreet about that.
like we believe the TCC is better than the CSC right now. But we'll get to the TCC's level someday, even though it's a level that is on cloud 9 pretty much.
They've got their own unique themes, I think each of them do.
Hello?
Trust in the Steam.
They're different.
Is that Bertram I see?
Yes.
Yes, it is. I finally beat my phone. I am here.
Oh my god. At least your phone app is working.
Hello.
I actually had to go through Google and use it as desktop site. So it took me that long to think of it.
If anybody knows how to actually use the Hangouts app now, please let me know. It's been a huge struggle for the past 20 minutes.
It's been crazy. It's so good to talk to you guys, though, and hear you guys. This is awesome.
Hey.
Well, thanks for joining us.
I'm glad I can be here.
So just a little plug-in. So Bertram here has actually been on my writing team the longest out of anyone. So he reached out to me back in 2014. Or maybe it was 13. I can't remember, actually. Sent me a couple stories over Facebook. Really liked them. And so I've kept them. And then when I was finally able to start filming season 3, I've adapted them. And so season 3 is actually only written by me and him. And then season 4 includes others who are a part of this writing team. So, yeah. Glad that you were able to join us.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to be here, and thank you for letting me write for this team. This is awesome.
I'm glad to have you.
Oh, we need to ask Bertram what is his favorite CGI episode.
Yeah,
Oh, there are so many good ones. I love Andrew Brenner. I feel that his writing style is amazing. But to pick one, oh goodness.
You can
So-
say Diesel's special delivery. It's okay.
Not exactly. No, that one is cool though. I'm trying to think. The one that I like the ones with Daisy. I especially like the Christmas episodes. I love the Christmas episodes. But one, if I had to choose one, I can't remember the name of it. But it was the Christmas episode with Daisy.
Daisy's Perfect Christmas, that one? Or the rail car and the coaches?
hello.
Awkward silence.
I was like, is my computer freezing again? Because like for a moment my Wi-Fi shut off.
All right, well let's get some controversial opinions going. So, okay, what is
Billy is the best. That's it.
what is the worst episode of season 17 through 21? Maybe should we include 21 because I feel like most of them are going to come from there.
I say we cut out season 21. 'Cause There's a lot of
by the way.
contenders there.
Okay, well let's do 17 through 20. Worst episode.
I mean, it's hard because you cut out season 22 for me. I had a list ready. Now
I
I got
do not have a list ready. Let me get out the wiki.
Probably tit for tat.
The worst?
What?
Worst, yeah.
Why?
No, I don't think it's the worst, but I think it's like extremely overrated.
Really? Explain.
I don't know. I just didn't think it was as good as people make it out to be. I can't really explain because I haven't for season 20. I only watched all the episodes once, even though they were great. I haven't watched them again. But when I watched it, I didn't think it was that great. I mean, I understand the significance of it, but I didn't think it was as good as everybody made it out to be. I think was the episode where Sir Topham Hatt goes like pretty much senile on that like island.
Skiff and the Mermaid.
Skiff and the Mermaid. Yeah, that was probably the best one.
Interesting.
Oh, I know one. This one is. I wanted to make this a Twitter post, but I feel like everybody would start hating me, saying, "Oh, she doesn't like that episode." You know what? I'm just gonna say it. Duck and the Slip Coaches is so overrated.
whoa.
Duck is such a bad character.
No, it's mainly James. He went from Tail the Brave, kind of nice, to this huge jerk. Like, on kind of Diesel's level. It's just like, what the heck? You just learned this lesson, you doing it again? And then he does it again later in the season. It's just like, what the heck?
Oh, there's no continuity in the character arcs.
Yeah.
They just make the same arc every time.
That's what's funny about people saying like Mavis has character development. Like, I don't know.
Mavis and not anyone else. Like, I've noticed that too, is that Mavis you can't touch. Like, she's grown up. But then everyone else, it's like, well, James and Thomas and Gordon can make the same mistake over and over.
But Thomas
Thomas
is always there when you need him. Like when you absolutely need him.
That's true.
Even when you don't need him, he's still there.
He's an unfortunate man.
So, just a quick thought about my own series. When I initially started it, I was planning on it following the Railway series canon because the 42nd book hadn't been released at the time, and so I was just planning on, it would basically be the TV series, season 1 through 4, plus all the original characters that Christopher had introduced. But then when they released the 42nd book, and Gordon no longer pulls the express, and there's kind of a lot of maturity and change that you see there at the end, I was like, oh, I can't do this anymore because, like, it actually, like, there is a complete arc with that, and like, the character does develop because Gordon matures in the end. So that's why I wasn't able to do that, and I've kind of scrapped that idea and moved to what I have now.
I don't hate Duck and the Slip Coaches, by the way. It's, like, I really love the educational content in it because I didn't know those existed. It's just James's attitude that I just didn't like in it. But if I had to pick an episode that I liked the least, it'd be Saving Time.
That one,
And
yeah.
any episode featuring Samson, I just don't like him. I just don't like him.
But what's funny is kids love him. You upload a video about Saving Time, and it gets like a huge amount of views. Like, it's not even a good video. It's just because it's got Samson in it, which is really odd.
Why?
He is actually a very strong character, even if you don't like him. It's like the thing I always said, like, so many people hate Philip, but he's like a decent character compared to a lot of the newbies they've introduced.
I used to hate Philip, but then like he's like this adorable child character. It's just like, I can't hate him. He's too innocent.
I like Philip, but I think what happened back in 2016 with the TCC like oversaturated him, and that's why I think a lot of people have a hard time with him. But if you look at like TV series wise only, like he hasn't been overused too many times. There has been a couple occasions where I think he was definitely shoehorned in, but like I think Philip's a pretty good character overall.
The worst part about him is like the ambiguous spaces. It's like some random American diesel. I don't know why they make dumb decisions like that.
I think my vote for worst episode is probably that bumpy track or buckled track and bump. I don't even remember the title. It's so forgettable. Like
I thought everyone was agreed that Emily Saves the World was the worst episode from that era.
Oh, really? I thought it was Steamy Stafford or Rocky Rescue. Those are the ones I seem to hear all the time that people hate.
I really don't like Diesel and the Ducklings. Like, it made me...
Oh, God.
I forgot about that one.
That is one of the best episodes. Your opinion does not matter at all.
I actually think that was a very good episode, too.
What about Thomas?
I genuinely thought that had interesting elements to it. That's the one where like you see like Diesel's driver like grab the broom off Percy's driver, right?
Oh yeah.
And I think like it was also like an interesting moral to it about peer pressure that I don't think they've really done that much of in the show.
Mm-hmm.
So from my perspective, it was a really standout episode.
See, the only thing I really did not like about that episode is that Ari and Bert were just like randomly roaming the island. Like it looked odd in that era, especially because everyone else, had their assigned jobs and it looked like a normal functioning railway, not season 13 through 16 like. But if they would have fixed that and given them some like jobs, I think I'd like it a lot more.
Ever since the ironworks closed, they have been having a tough time finding work.
They need to bring
to the mainland.
But I agree with you, Trent. You did. Now that you've like laid out the moral like that, I appreciate it for that. I just didn't like when Thomas just kept saying quack, quack, quack to Diesel.
Yeah. What is your least favorite classic series episode?
Oh, don't bring that up.
Seasons 1 through 5. We're not counting 6 and 7.
Oh, thank goodness. 'Cause I would have said almost all of season 7.
I think my least favorite, and I'm like nostalgic, talking about like Thomas and Percy's mountain adventure. Like as a kid, was just weird to me. Like it was like we've never been here before, and we never go back to this place. Like it's just kind of this random episode that takes place there, and like I don't know. Plus, it was at the end of the VHS tape, so I never liked that because it's like, oh, it's almost over. Like, oh no. So
the American dub, because you don't even hear the correct version of it. I never even heard it until I bought like a DVD from the UK that actually had it on it. And for the longest time, I was like, I would pick out my DVD with it that had the closest narration to where it actually fit the story. And so
well, you know what's interesting about that though is I recently watched the Shining Time Station episode that Mountain Adventure was aired on. Mm-hmm. And it's super weird because it's like they use the music track from the UK narration and they just slap George Carlin's narration over top. Like if you watch it on the Classics or the HD Classics channel, it cuts off like as soon as they get to the engine shed.
Yeah, I
But
remember
on the Shining
that.
Time Station one, the whole episode plays right to the end where they play that "We Wish You a Merry Christmas" rendition, but there's no narration. It's so
It's
weird.
15 seconds of awkward silence.
Yeah, the UK version, there's like 20 extra seconds, and there's this whole extra conversation about Santa Claus in it, and it's actually about Christmas and not
I
Thanksgiving.
don't think I've seen the UK versions, believe it or not.
I love
Dude,
Scarlet.
you haven't seen the episode if you haven't seen the
Again,
UK version.
I've never seen any of season 22, so
It always threw me off because being in Canada, we have Thanksgiving in October when there's never any snow. So I was like, why are they giving presents and why is there a snowstorm? This doesn't make any sense.
I remember thinking that was Black Friday. Boy, I was wrong.
That episode was always weird to me too because it was like Thanksgiving and then right back to Christmas, which we do that, but it just always felt weird as a kid. I was like, well, which season is it? And then also England, does England celebrate Thanksgiving? I don't think that they do.
No,
That was
not at
too.
all.
No, they did the rewrite specifically for Shining Time Station.
Man,
It's perfect for the American audience though, because they're blurring the lines between Christmas and Thanksgiving, which is exactly what we do.
True, but like it would have been fun as a Christmas story though. That's what I don't get. Just like make it a Christmas story instead of just Thanksgiving.
If I could just say, like, I feel so sorry for you Americans. Like, I already have to do like the family dinner thing at Christmas. I just think that, oh god, the idea of having to do that twice a year. It's so close to each other.
You go to the in-laws for one, and then your own family for the other, and then you alternate the next year.
Oh, you see, I do both on the same day on Christmas instead. It's like it's all done in one day. It's like I have to see any of these people for the rest of the year.
Okay, so since we've been talking about Thanksgiving Thomas episodes, what should, like, if let's say instead of doing Mountain Adventure, for season 3 they were going to actually create a whole original episode around Thanksgiving, what should it actually have been like?
There should not have been one in principle because Sodor is part of the United Kingdom and there's no reason for them to celebrate Thanksgiving. If you want to do a Thanksgiving episode, you can do it on Misty Island with like those weird Canadian engines.
Whoa. They're not Canadian. Don't drag us into this.
South.
I thought long and hard about this for a long time. Just have like either Thomas or Percy just come across this family having this big dinner with a turkey, and they question like, what was that about? And they tell them it's like this U.S. family visiting the United Kingdom, and they still celebrate. I thought about this when I was like 14, so it's kind of ridiculous.
Well, I guess with Big World, like Thomas can just be in the United States for Thanksgiving.
What you do is you have my boy Hank. He comes back into the series, and he's like, "Howdy, y'all! I'm going to slap you with some knowledge. Thanksgiving," and then that's the story right there.
Yes.
If I was writing a series, if they were like, well, let's do a Thanksgiving episode, I wouldn't necessarily do a Thanksgiving themed episode, but make it that the characters learn to be thankful. So that way it could be accepted in the US because it would relate to Thanksgiving, but also it could be watched in other territories without referencing the holiday.
That's
I can get behind that.
Yeah.
It was turkey holiday time on the island of
That would be
You were being hauled from the farm.
The Pilgrims and Indians have gone out to find the biggest turkey on the island.
Thomas ate turkey with all the other engines.
Thomas,
It was
you
a
must bring
special
me the
special.
biggest turkey you can find.
This is like
Complete
the
with stuffing.
Thomas animal arc. Instead of saving the animals, Thomas is out to kill.
Someone needs to rewrite it.
I think before there is like a Thanksgiving episode, maybe they should do an Easter related episode. I mean, I can't think of one off the top of my head.
I want one on
Got experience
Boxing
in
Day.
that.
I
Yeah,
want one
well.
on Boxing Day. Just like, please have an episode on Boxing Day.
I always
I mean, Boxing Day, my favorite holiday.
I didn't even know Boxing Day existed until I watched an episode 16 when I was in like middle school. Changed my life. But no, going back to Easter as well. I remember Random House. They made an Easter Thomas book way back when, because they're doing like different holidays and like in certain stations, and they did Easter for Inopia or something like that. I think, or I can't remember, but either way.
Did you actually read it?
I did. I actually have it. I can get it real quick.
Is it like, was it good? Is it worth actually reading?
Yeah. Eastern Hardwick. It was probably one of the better books that they put out, like in that era, because it was like the same illustrations as the I think the Read With Me books, but it actually had a coherent story instead of like Thomas was pushed from behind or something like that, and then turn the page. So
it was Cinco de Mayo on the island of Sodor.
Oh God! It's like, where do we stop? It's just going to expand.
It was
we need a
Dio
Hanukkah
della Muerte
episode.
on the island of Sodor.
Did it bother anyone else? Did it bother anyone else when they would say winter holidays?
Like it bothered me a lot. Like,
I think that has been sufficiently memed.
It was obvious it was Christmas. They had Christmas trees out. It was so obvious it was Christmas. I especially hated it when it was.
I think like at the time that episode was produced, it was like a real concerted effort to, convert Christmas to winter holidays or whatever. And I think that's kind of dialed down subsequently.
Because wasn't that like after that? What was it? Christopher Audrey's sister got involved and told them that they need to switch it back to Christmas or something.
Yes.
The book series was written by a freaking reverend. It's like the religious history of the show. It's a little difficult to hide when it's like, based on the series by the Rev W. Audreys and everything.
Also the fact that there's Christmas trees in the background.
Yeah.
Hey, Milk Tanker Media had a great idea. It was election day on the island. Trent, I think we know what next short you should do next.
They're talking about for 2020.
We're gonna take the island of Sodor, and we're gonna make it entirely coal powered.
There's gonna be like a wall surrounding Sodor.
I nominate Percy for
just
2020.
blow up the Bickerstown Bridge.
Yeah, between Vickerstown and Barrow, it's just like.
And we know that the mainland, they aren't sending their best people. And that quote there.
We like stop like.
Or else I will be kicked from this chat.
I'm a yo, everyone. This is a more dangerous conversation than Big World, Big Adventure.
I think so. We might want to move to Big World.
Oh,
So
God.
how about that, Rebecca? Eh?
I've been talking so much about that movie for the past 2 days.
Why don't we talk about the toys instead? What's on Trackmaster
toys? Are there any toys left?
Let's go back to
Not my
Rebecca.
local Walmart.
Not in my Walmart, wherever it is.
I will say that I've been surprised at just how small you can have a Thomas display and still technically have a Thomas display. I mean, I was, I just remember when I was a kid, you'd have like an entire aisle dedicated to Thomas merch, and now you have like a couple of boxes with some minis blind bags in them, and that's basically it.
I remember going to Toys R Us, and the first thing I would see right behind the cash register is the whole Thomas Wooden Railway section, just right there. And they even had the D199 diesel.
Hey, does anyone have pictures? Like, I've seen several pictures of Toys R Us back in the day of like wooden railway sections, but does anyone have pictures of like the old Tomy displays and like the blue boxes laid out?
Jason, I'll be real with you, man. When I was a kid, I never, ever saw Tomy stuff. Like it was
really
no, never. Any of the stores I went to, it was basically Erdl or Wooden Railway. That's all I had as a kid. I never knew Tomy or Trackmaster existed until I joined Canada.
What kind of backwater were you guys living in?
Canada.
United States.
For me, I only saw Tomy stuff when I went to Dale Thomas. And then they started, we started getting some of the stuff like the newer characters like Ben and Edward when they became new. We got them from TT Station when that was still around.
Hey, I remember that.
The best Thomas store ever. And
man, that brings back memories.
And then Walmart, I walked in there one day, I see Lady DieselD199. I was like, hold on, what is this? And then Walmart ended up selling every single character, and that was
Oliver.
Yeah, except for my boy Oliver, but you know, I was lucky. I found him on eBay one day, and I just found him for like $20 and brand new. I was like, hold on, what is this? But so I had to hop on that deal instantly. It's amazing.
Well, if
I
you
will
go to
say it was
Japan,
cool
you
how
can
back
still
in the
see.
day, like you could, when I went to these local stores, like that's how you knew about new characters coming out. Like I think when Thomas and the Magic Railroad was still like being hyped up and it hadn't actually come out yet, the person at one of the toy stores was like, "Oh yeah, there's a new Ertl character coming out. It's called Pete Boom." And I was like, "What is that?"
Is it bad that
And I wouldn't know for another 10 years.
I literally, there's an image from Thomas and the Magic Railroad where like DieselD199 is sitting in this barge, and it looks like, I always thought that was sweet potatoes.
Oh, I thought it was something else.
That would be a much more desirable fate.
I literally thought he landed in sweet potatoes.
There were many.
Some of
drafts
y'all
in
know
that
what I'm
movie,
talking
but
about.
For all we know, the original cut was sweet potatoes.
Thomas in the Sweet Potato Railroad.
On this quest to get Thanksgiving goods, DieselD199.
Are we just gonna all collaborate and make our Thanksgiving episode right now? We got DieselD199 and his.
We've got a
potato
year
bar.
to do it. We've got, what,
I
11
got a
months
job
to
for
do
you,
it.
sweet potatoes.
The acting was like way overdone in that movie. Alec Baldwin was like on coke, and then
Oh my god!
it's true. Like, you know,
This stream is no longer family friendly.
He was just having a good time. That's all.
he was eating a lot of sugar.
I went through so much effort this morning to make this stream family friendly. I actually went and found like a comprehensive list of like bad words.
It's a really long list. I've seen it.
Yeah, and I copied it in. So like the chat for the most part is pretty dang well monitored. I'm not quite sure if really anything can get through at this point. I'm sure someone, if they really wanted to, could come up with something. But I've tried really hard. So let's please keep it clean.
I'm sorry for getting a Jekyll and Hyde vibe from my profile because you hear two different voices with two different demeanors saying things.
I guess they had split personality. That's all.
I'm gonna say EE93 said that.
Oh no!
E93 is turning into Lexi.
Oh, that would be. Oh man,
Yeah,
that's a whole video right there.
Speaking of which, okay, here's the next topic. Is Journey Beyond Sodor as bad as we all initially thought, or now that we've seen worse, is it not that bad?
I mean, I think a lot of people like generally liked JBS, at least compared to the Great Race.
Oh, it
There
was
were portions
way
of it
better
I
than
like.
Race.
There
Yeah,
were
I mean,
portions-
I would definitely say that I was very negative towards it when we saw that 10 minutes on YouTube, but it turns out that that was like the worst 10 minutes of the film. So
With terrible
There's
audio.
a lot of filler.
Beresford
Yeah.
stuff was.
It wasn't too bad.
Oh,
Merlin is
yeah,
the
but-
best. That's it.
It made sense compared to BWBA.
no.
It made so much
True.
more
They
sense.
actually use logic in that film.
One thing I didn't like about Journey Beyond Sodor, like I thought the story was pretty interesting, but I just didn't like all the musical numbers and stuff like that. I'm not a huge musical fan, so like once it's more than one song, I'm pretty much done at that point.
They felt kind of forced in too.
Mm-hmm. Especially with like Beresford's, but Beresford is one of
Yeah.
the-
Beresford just doesn't make any sense because they didn't even make any merch of him.
Yeah,
So
they got the cool play rail toy.
Hey guys, I'm gonna have to go, but it's been so great talking with you. Gotta head back into work.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Bertram. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
later.
Bye guys. Stay cool.
Hey.
for sure.
So yeah, I think that I think that perhaps we're going to do something else with Beresford, but I think some of the movie was probably actually cut.
Given, it's so long.
Yeah.
Oh, turtles.
I knew
But
it.
yeah, honestly, if you put aside the low set quality, I think I think it was.
Wow.
Oh Lord.
Man.
So,
Oh, that's too much, man.
It was just great.
Family friendly. Oh man. Well, in regards to Journey Beyond Sodor, I will say I actually liked it when it came out. I wasn't super put off by the bouncing. It's more so in the newer series that it kind of puts me off. But I don't
honestly,
know.
my
I like
biggest issue with the bouncing is that it's just inconsistent.
Yes.
I think it's fine in like music videos and songs, like, you know, have it be a silly little thing that they do when bounce to the tune or whatever. But like when they're having a conversation, all of a sudden they just like sway over to the next person. It's like, whoa, okay.
Don't forget the head twisting.
No, don't.
Although I will say, I forget who. I think it was Sodor Fan 2K10 who tweeted it recently, but he made a video about how it'd be great if now that the engines bounce, if they like back into the sheds after it's been raining and they shake off like they're a dog.
Yes.
Really oh my god, no.
Yes.
Trent, make it happen in a short.
No.
Please.
I shall not demean myself.
We have Thomas do a 360 on a bridge.
Make Thomas do a
First he
kickflip
uses
on a bridge.
wheels to scratch like a dog.
That video was making a very specific point. I think it's been made.
Which is funny because it's gotten so much worse since like that video actually came out. Like who would have thought that it was going to get to this point?
Well, you know, the Thomas doing the loop-de-loop thing really made me feel like, you know, every attempt I had made to sort of make a point by making something ridiculous was in vain. Like the show had become so ridiculous that I couldn't do anything more so than that. Like he does a loop-de-loop. He's not even on rails. I don't know why anyone thought that would be okay to do. I mean, like, at least the bridge jump kind of seemed possible, but that was just so...
Well, then there was not so slow coaches. Like, he tried to jump the bridge, but then he's like, no, I can't do it.
Oh, right, yeah.
Rest in peace, turtles.
Let's pose this question then. With the exception of Hunt the Truck, because I'm pretty sure that's the clear-cut winner, what's everyone's highlight of Season 22?
Let me pull up a list.
I had to pull up a list, too.
I know, I had to add that caveat of not including Hunt the Truck, or else it would have been a very short conversation.
I gotta pull up a list.
If I had to choose something, I'd choose Rajiv. Because I felt like he was the best international character that we had, like, character-wise. Even though it's pretty much like James, it was still enjoyable at the very least, I felt.
Yeah, Rajiv and Shankar were awesome to me.
I'm sorry, but some of those episodes I just could not finish. They were so unbelievably boring.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, some of them were really bad.
Every episode that was in China was horrible, and I was upset because I thought Young Bao was going to be pretty cool. Like, because he has such a great backstory, and I was like, hopefully they'll pick up with this, but no. Then we have episodes like Thomas and the Water Wheel, and
It disappoints me because Davey Moore is my favorite writer from the current team, and he wrote all the China episodes. It's like, man, Davey, what are you doing? Step your game up, pal.
I guess I'm gonna have to go with Forever and Ever. I can't really pick anything else off here.
What did you like about that one? That one just never stood out to me. It was just kind of,
It stood out to me in that it was like a kind of like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge type thing. But that's the only thing. That's the only thing I have to go off here. Is like, well, what actually stood out to me? It's like Trusty Trunky. Like, oh wow, Thomas goes to Bollywood. So exciting. Thomas and the Monkey Palace. I didn't even finish that one.
I did not even finish the one with the monkeys, the Monkey Kingdom, something like that. I don't even know if that was what it was called.
The same sequence in that one where Charubala is the fairy godmother. I don't know if you remember, but I think that's what happened in that. Like,
what?
My computer froze
Yeah, no, that's the
at
one.
that point. My computer froze when I saw that. And it's like, it didn't play again. And I was like, I think it was a sign. I think it was telling me to stop.
You know, I think it's very interesting that in their attempts to, make the series that much more flashy and exciting, none of the episodes stand out from one another, and yet none of them feel flashy or exciting.
That's a fair point. I will say the only ones that really stand out to me are, it's probably a tie between Tiger Trouble and I really like Seeing is Believing, even though it's not as fleshed out as it should be. I feel like the Percy plot kind of falls
just
flat,
ends.
I really love the Merlin interaction and Trevor being involved with it too. I think it's really cool.
It could have been a great story.
It could have been. It could have been a lot better for sure.
If it was a two-parter, yeah.
Doesn't parts where Thomas talks to the audience at the beginning and end, not like as a narrator, but just like as a hello, I'm Thomas, and this is what you watch. Doesn't that count as like the episode's runtime and not just like a extra thing, sort of like the credits or something like that?
Yeah, it is. That's why they shortened the episode time so they could include that as a cheap.
I mean, yeah, it was definitely a cost-saving measure, I think.
That's just lovely.
Because you're using the exact same footage. They just swap out the face. After he stops. It's the same with the ending, which is just an opportunity to reuse stock footage from the actual episode that just went by. Or, it's. They're taking like direction from anime. I feel anime is the best genre at wasting people's time with just like these useless previously or next time on and like super long theme song and.
Hey Trent,
I usually happen in
more episodes for Goku to charge up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Have you ever thrown a Kamehameha before?
Like how many episodes did he spend on that spirit bomb? It was like.
I think my favorite episode, not counting Hunt the Truck, would probably be either Rebecca's debut episode or Apology Impossible. I actually really liked that.
Oh my god.
I like that one. I think all the moments I like in season 22 are down to Paxton. Paxton is adorable. I love what they're doing with him.
I liked Seeing is Believing because of how clever there was research into Percy's character that I just did not realize until a week later. And then another one I really liked was, this might be controversial, Banjo and the Bushfire.
I was going to say that.
Well, I have friends who are firefighters, and
are they Australian firefighters?
Well, I mean, I like the lesson that's in it because it's a very important topic that, when you're finishing your little bushfire or when you're finishing your little campfire, you gotta make sure you gotta put all of it out, because sometimes, and it happened to me over the summer where one of my cousin's neighbors tried putting out a campfire, but they didn't put it out all the way and it burned down their yard.
Oh, look.
Don't worry. Thankfully, my cousin's husband was there to help out, and he's a firefighter. So thank God for that. They were all okay. Just only like 2 yards were burned.
Okay, so I think we're gonna move the stream to the next phase. So. Flute, Henry, Michael, I appreciate you guys coming. It's been awesome having you guys join us.
Hey.
We're going to now move over to have some TCC members join us. We're going to have a little reunion for those because several have left over the years and whatnot. So we appreciate you guys joining us. I love having you guys on our writing team. It's been a blast. And so hopefully we'll do more, we should do like a writing team Skype call every once in a while or something so we can all chat more.
Yeah,
yes, I feel like I really ended it on a dark note. Something happier.
That's why I want to end it.
All right. If I could
enjoy the rest of the stream, everybody. Thanks for having us.
With Rosie as red, Sir Topham Hatt's gift to his wife is the most wholesome and wonderful thing in season 22. If that's a good note to end on. I love cats. All right.
Bye. Have a good night.
Bye,
guys. Bye-bye.
Okay. Now I've got to add our old pals. Forever since we've all chatted with one another. When was the last time we did a TCC like stream? Was it the one that was on Nathan's channel?
Oh, I think it was. I think I was in Rhode Island on my cell phone for that one, if I even jumped into that.
Wow. Dang, that was a long time ago.
It was a very long time ago. I don't think we ever did one in 2018. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, the team, like, after I left in August of 2017, like, I feel like it became such a entirely different team, like, just a couple months later.
That is true. And it was just less people were making them. Like, that was just part of it. Like, the team was so much bigger in 2016 and 17. But then the Superstation made it even harder to include everyone. And I think that's also what started that.
Yeah.
I think definitely towards the end it has become a lot more specialized. Unfortunately, from 2016 even 2017 to 2018, I think the emphasis on merchandise has become much stricter than it used to be, and so as a consequence of that, it has become more difficult to include a wide range of people, because you're focused on like, who can we get the merch to in a reasonable time frame, and how much can we actually send out, and especially because like, we're not supposed to be using, like, the old wooden railway, or we weren't at one point, or the old blue Trackmaster track. It sort of narrows down the number of people who can work on things regardless.
Yeah. No, I think it also was kind of a shame, those restraints, because what made it a collective before, like, everyone just kind of had the same generic look at that point with the same like current merchandise. So I think it really lost its name at that point.
Because sometimes it's 2 or 3 different people shooting, but you can't even tell. And it's not the case for everyone. It's just that everyone improved and bought the same materials that you sometimes can't tell one person from another. And in some ways, like, people's set building really improved, but I sort of agree. Like, it's not really about everyone bringing to the table what they can offer. They're kind of conforming to a structure.
When they all have to use the same toys, and then they're all given the same backdrop, like, yeah, and same track, like, it just, yeah, it's hard to make yourself stand out. I think Steven was one person who did a really good job. Like, you could tell that his stuff was different from everyone else's, but I mean, that was really hard to do.
Mm-hmm. Oh well, Taylor's here. Taylor, can you hear us?
Maybe.
Oh, he's lost in translation.
I guess he doesn't have a mic set up at the moment.
Taylor's one of the best CSC filmers. He is amazing.
Oh yes. Wait a minute, what are you doing here?
Robert, have you done anything?
Testing. Can you guys hear me?
There you go. Welcome, Taylor.
Thanks for having me.
Glad you could make it.
So what are we going to talk about now?
I don't know. I'm kind of curious where everyone else is. Because they, like, in the chat, said that they were ready and they were here. So are the links not going through again, or, like, I don't know what's going on.
No, I was able to go through the link just fine.
Okay. Let's see. I know Caleb had to drop out last minute. He got called into work, so he will not be joining us. But I think Steven, and I know for sure Dieter and Thatcher are going to be joining us. So
if I might just address a question in the chat that says, how do you feel about the current state of custom making in the community? One of the things, this goes back to what I was talking about earlier with collaboration, is there's a lot of custom making that I'm seeing, but I'm not seeing any of these customs in anything. And it's fine if people are just interested in modeling and just custom making for its own sake. But, you know, again, I think it'd be really cool to actually see some of these customs in action. But the other thing I would say is that there does seem to be, particularly with, you know, people making custom Bachmann Thomases and stuff like that, like people spend so much time modifying this Bachmann toy to the point where it's, I think there's very little of it that's part of the original Bachmann model. And I would say that, like, don't feel pressured to like modify all of your, like, I think the original Bachmann characters look just fine. You know, so I would say, like, if you're interested in customizing it, like, that's fine. But I certainly wouldn't say that you need to customize anything in order to film with it. I think like all the original Bachmann stuff looks just fine as it is.
I think they could be updated though. That's like from the retail or the companies, and they like those things really. I mean, I don't think that they're like top merchandise back in the day. Like I think the faces were pretty bad even back then compared to what else was out. But like I feel like now in CGI they could really like make them good.
Do they even have CGI faces?
On the latest ones they do. But they haven't redone any of the old ones.
Oh.
So yeah, except for the large scale ones, those ones have CGI faces.
Well, that's true. You're right. So, you know, Thomas should have one. James should have one. You know, I think it's just strange that they're not updated when they're the most important. And, you know, even the Trackmaster Thomas, he has the worst face out of all the engines. And he's Thomas. Like, why is Lexi amazing and the Trackmaster Thomas?
I think it's because like Thomas is always the first one they make, so he ends up invariably being the worst. You know, because like subsequently in any merch range, they're going to like, you know, make improvements to their production pipeline, and you know they're going to figure out all of the kinks. But Thomas is the one that they start with, and so just invariably because of the nature of the things, he ends up being the worst.
I still just can't figure out how on earth the face on the Trackmaster 2 Thomases got through and got approval. Like that thing is horrid.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you look at like the original Tommy ones, like Thomas always had the worst face there as well.
That's true, but I think that those were better than like Trackmaster 2. I don't know what it is, but like his eyes, like the center of his face is like more sunken in, so his like eyes, they're not cross-eyed, but they're kind of more not pointed towards each other, but like I don't know, it just doesn't look natural. Especially like it's CGI. Like they should be able to get like the faces to look really accurate to the show. Like I mean, look at the Play-Rail Thomas face. Like that thing's gorgeous.
Yeah, I think that's what they're doing now. I don't think that's how they started though. I think now the toy manufacturers do actually have access to all of the actual assets from the show, but my feeling is that was not the case originally. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, and you can tell with the more recent Trackmaster variations that they do, like some of Thomas's faces, kind of some of the weird expressions now, like they're definitely matching. It's just funny how they haven't updated the smiling normal face. It still looks creepy.
And if I can just adjust this this question from Engine Fan 020, he says, you know, I believe channels such as the CSC or the TTC should include other activities than just episode remakes. Why not include news/discussion vids, reviews, or fan spotlight vids? And from the TTE community's perspective, and just generally speaking, I would say that I feel like there's already too much of that sort of stuff on YouTube. Like I personally don't really care for news or discussion vids unless it's like really well thought through, like Unlucky Tug used to do. Reviews, like I don't think I don't know if anyone really needs a review for you know, like a Thomas Wood character. Like you can basically tell whether or not you like it or not from a picture on Twitter.
Choose your words carefully, Trent. People are going to come after you.
Well, you know, I just feel like I try to subscribe to a wide variety of channels on my DieselD199 account, so I can like sort of see what's going on in the fandom. And I mean, I would say like I personally don't care for that content, and if other people like it, that's fine. But I feel like there is probably too much of that sort of stuff as it is. And I personally would like to just see more narrative content.
And I think you can kind of gauge too on kind of the following that kind of content gets as well. Like it definitely gets some attention, but I think like more narrative original content does get a larger audience and following, and a more passionate following.
Yeah, and you know, like I've experimented with that stuff in the past. You know, I think I've done a couple of reviews, just to have the experience of having done it and just see how people responded to it, and decided it really wasn't for me. So you know, like I said, I don't mind if people want to do it, but you know, personally, I would say that there's probably too much of that sort of stuff in the fandom. And you know, for anything community based that I'm organizing personally, I would like to organize more narrative based stuff.
Going off that, like reviews are actually really tough to construct, especially if they're anywhere near as good as Unlucky Tugs. Like he had defined structure, they were visually interesting, and I miss him, you know, even though I think he sort of made all of his points about the future of the series with his JBS review and thoughts. You know, it's hard to match that for sure. Like he does a really good job.
Yeah, I would say that there's like a power vacuum in that niche. And so if someone, you know, who's a really good editor and who's really good at like thinking this sort of stuff through and reviewing it analytically rather than just sort of giving what amounts to, you know, a reaction video, for instance, a lot of these reviews, I would say, yeah, there is like space for that, but we've got some new people here.
But then you also got Twitter, and people just go ahead and say what they think about episodes and toys in general. So,
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So we've got Steven and Joel joining us now. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hello, everybody!
Classic Joel. Hey, man.
Hey, everybody!
What's up?
Oh, a lot of things today. A lot of things.
But overall, so blessed to be able to be included with you, Jason. Thank you for inviting us to come join you, and a warm congratulations on your milestone, man. I mean, this is your day, man. It's your moment, you know?
Here, here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's great to have you guys, especially Joel. You've done more with the TCC recently, but I mean, you've been with it for a very, very long time, and Steven, you've been with it as well. So it's great having so many people here that, you know, I feel like all of us interacted with each other a lot more, you know, a couple years ago. And so it's fun, you know, having everyone here again, just chatting like we used to.
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually,
absolutely.
I would have to say the ones that have been with the TCC the longest have been Trent and Matt. They're the ones that really have been there since day one, haven't they?
Is there anyone else who also has stayed with it since day one?
Wasn't Isaiah since day one?
Yeah. But I don't think Isaiah works on it anymore, to my knowledge.
Yeah, he left earlier this year, last year, sometime last year. I remember him leaving, and that was kind of heartbreaking for me.
Yeah, he wanted to focus on his college education and work on more of his work for a little while, which is, I think, great for him because he could begin making more of the music that he really likes on his own now, which is, and college is such a really important time too, you know, because of the study and being able to focus on schoolwork, and it's a good thing to do, you know.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And of course, Nathan has been around.
Bless him. Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Upside now.
You know what? I actually still have something from one of those live streams you guys did, and when you did like that fundraise. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I still have that wooden railway Vinny signed by Nathan. Signed by Nathan, and I haven't even opened it.
That's funny. I remember actually running to Toys R Us with him before I caught my flight, because it was like, oh crap, Nathan, we got to get something for you. So we like ran down to Toys R Us, grabbed a wooden railway Vinny, and he hurried and signed it in the car on the way to that was after the mess of me getting stranded in Chicago. So we were like booking.
Oh yeah, I remember you guys talking about that. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Fun times. Nathan's a great guy.
Yeah, I personally hope there wasn't like too much bad blood when I ended up getting the role of James.
Oh, bless your heart, man. You took on the role really well, especially like, yeah, all the characters that you've been able to play really well.
I know. When I actually had somebody else in mind for the role of James, but then our head guy, he said, "I want you to do the role." I'm like, okay.
Well, one of the reasons you were called upon, Joel, is that you are by far the most dependable and like talented voice actor in the TCC, and you've always been very dedicated. And just because you're always there, you've been there to guide other people. And I think the fact that there is now a position of voice director is one of the best things to happen this year, just with how carefully things are being laid out. So, well done to you. It was great to watch that happen this year, or 2018. I mean.
Yeah, second that.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. But let's not detract from the main thing here. It's Jason here. He's the star. He got 100,000 subscribers.
I mean, geez, that is a huge deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It feels weird, weird that oh, my channel's this big now. Because at the same time, I think too many people when they think of the number being that big, it's like, wow, so many people. But it's like, I don't know. There's also quality over quantity, and so obviously there's a certain number of people that are hardcore Thomas fans that are older who will actually comment and give, be a dedicated follower to a particular series or something. And then anything beyond that is mostly kids. So in some way, yeah, that's so cool that it's having 100,000, but at the same time, it's well, for the most part, it's the same, couple thousand that have always been there. And then there's just an excess amount of kids now that are liking it even more.
Yeah, that's true. I know from watching some of your videos too, that you've really tried to apply yourself to be able to resonate with multiple people in the groups of the fandom. Because there are people who love Thomas who are younger, and some that are like our age who are older who really appreciate it from a creative standpoint too. And from, putting CGI faces on the characters or to trying to make something that would catch somebody's eye. I really, despite that, you're trying to experiment with the way that you can resonate with your audience in different ways. But I've, like you and Trent have talked about throughout this hangout, is the heart of what you have to communicate. I mean, being able to focus on what you say, on what you want to say with your content. I think that's a really, really nice thing to be able to focus on, because it's the substance of what you have to create with your videos.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you saying that, because I get so much flack from people about oh, the thumbnails, this and that, or and because I'm trying to do what you said, and I think some people think too, I don't know, that a video needs to I guess I come with come into it with more of a let's kind of play around and see what happens type of thing. Let's try this, let's try that. I've got 600 plus videos on my channel now. I've experimented with so many things just for the heck of it. But I think too many people think that oh no, you can't do that. Because I have a specific expectation of what your video should be and whatnot. And so, but I feel I've tried to come up with a good balance in the fact that yeah, my thumbnails might be a little flashier CGI and something that might appeal to a kid, but the heart of the content is obviously very classic Thomas, which is what my channel's always been about. And so if I can bring more children to enjoy that, then I think I've done my job and the role that I've always wanted my channel to fulfill.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, well, I think we were going to have Dieter and Thatcher join us, but it sounds like they're having some troubles. So I wanted to ask each one of you a question. So let's just go around and share a highlight of working on the collective at some point in the time that we've been on it.
Fire away.
Well, I have to say, man, from just starting on YouTube myself, I've met every single one of you on the comments from my videos. And since joining Twitter, I have been very, very blessed to be able to collaborate with you guys in some form of a way and really build relationships where I've called you guys my friends. I've loved the people that I got to work with, a super talented group of people, and just the fact that we're here together. It's just a really nice thing to be able to do. I will always be grateful for that.
Same here.
Yeah.
I definitely think that's one of the main positives of working on the Thomas Creator Collective has been just having an opportunity to meet a whole bunch of different people and interact with them in a way that you wouldn't have otherwise. I probably wouldn't necessarily have Nathan doing the music for my own videos, and so that was a really great thing to get out of it. That's really improved the standard of my own work, and I have a great working relationship with him. But speaking more creatively, I think that one of the things that I've always really enjoyed is there are times where, like, certainly I'm very much used to writing something and then I know exactly how I want it to work. And quite often, like, obviously when it's a whole bunch of other people who are working off your script, it doesn't necessarily end up being what you envision it to be. But there are definitely great moments where it's like, man, they really nailed the execution for that scene. And it's so great to see that someone else has taken it and like brought it to life.
Oh, I can so relate to that. I remember one of my very first favorite projects going into TCC was making a model of Proteus for the Halloween episodes. Oh. And, one of my signature things that I did with my old videos, because I started with just using things what I had, like paper from the craft store, and then having that to use to make my engines, like my icon, my large scale model of Renee's, for example. I never thought I would have a like for Proteus as much as I did going in with the assignment that I got, because I put that quilt over the side of the edge of the cliffside with Proteus coming over with the moon under him and making his headlamp turn on and off and his eyes move. That was one of the very first times I created something like that in a long time since leaving college. And it was so fun. And making him disappear, man, that was really cool. It felt like...
Yeah, that was a beautiful shot.
It left me in awe, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, she's back!
Vision scale modeler's back." Yeah, that was my moment. Oh my god, it's not dead.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, your models are really just mind blowing. They are so highly detailed. I love them.
It's a joy, man. And being able to go from large scale to HO scale over the past year and a half, and using Twitter to share it as a platform to connect with people who have like-minded interests has been really fun. And, I assure you guys can identify with, that's how I use Twitter. I have a hobby and I have it to use as a platform to share what I love to do on my spare time from my career and to engage with my followers and friends that I've made from them over the years. And it is just an incredible hobby. And I would like to go more into rail railways, more like the Southeast and Chapman Railway, the London Brighton South Coast Railway for a while. But being able to connect with things that we identify with is so fun. And being able to have that as your constant when you engage online with Twitter and being able to connect with people, that's how, like, we're talking about, collaborations are made and we get to be involved with really good projects. But like Trent said, being able to work in a very professional capacity, there's a lot to be said for that. And with everyone trying to understand the process, that really, I think, definitely separates how well you can perform dealing with many different groups of people with different personalities all across the world. And that is something valuable that goes from the things that you do as friends to a fandom of any fandom to then giving that as a basis for your career. That's really huge. Something I'll always be grateful for. Yeah.
Definitely. Just to add a quick thought before we keep going with this topic, Stephen, I think I've mentioned to you before about this, but I was just thinking when you talking about coming back, I remember around the time The Adventure Begins came out, I was in like my first semester of college, but I was actually at home. Kind of doing some studies there. And I remember I was designing my Knapford station that eventually is what I have now that I've used. And I remember I would go to your blog
Like, oh my gosh,
I would check it on a daily basis. And
oh yeah,
what new things that you were coming up with. Although I don't know if you were actually uploading a lot at that time, but like I would still check because it was like, you know, your work was such an inspiration to me in making my sets better. And so, yeah, I wanted to throw that out there.
Oh, bless you. Well, it was 2013 that I was taking things that I did from 2006 to 2011 after I graduated from high school to go to college. I was learning how to use After Effects and Photoshop more to animate a little bit to photo editing, then taking that into Premiere and being able to edit stuff to put what will become my YouTube channel and learning the process. But I also launched that blog, visionscalemodeler.blogspot.com. Now it's changed to Sodium Relay Modeler or something because I wanted to connect it with Thomas a little bit more. But I was encouraged to do that from a letter that I sent to Greg Tiernan at Nitrogen Studios. And you may remember one of the very first things that I put on my blog was the picture of my scale model of Rheneas with the large scale TV series 5 model of Rheneas side by side. And that was what Greg, yeah, that was the picture that Greg Tiernan sent to me. What I sent that with a letter saying that I would really like to ask for advice for getting a job in the animation industry and that I would like to work for the Thomas Show. Do you have any tips? Here's my work portfolio, some of my videos. It was 2013 that he got my response. And that was when they were jumping ship from Nitrogen Studios, when they were shifting for Thomas to work on Sausage Party, to then being taken over by Art Productions. All the models were being shifted from the displays. And he saw my letter, put the models down on the floor and took a picture of them and sent them with my email and said, Steven, you are super talented and I really want to encourage you. You keep on with the education and get graduated because that would help you in the industry of being able to get into animation jobs. And can I share this picture? Oh, sure. Of course you can. And that's one of the very first things they shared on their Facebook page. And if you go on there, it's still there. And that was what inspired me to begin a blog. And that was the first time I decided that I like to share before I knew there was a fandom of Thomas, to share my videos. And from Caleb Train to Matt to Christian Brown, and a lot of you guys, I mean, the inspiration that we've kind of dived in together. I see people going into animation, trying facial animation. And then I see people trying to make sets, like including you, Jason. That is just so cool to see. Seeing people being inspired and being able to build interest in each other is just so cool. But that was kind of like how I started. And yeah, I did Wellsworth. I drew like a blueprint of Wellsworth, a signal box, a Nafford goods shed, stuff like that. And I put it up on the blog as well as like drawings of Rheneas and Duncan and even Culdee, for example, because
I'm still waiting on that one.
I know, and the Smallies, you know, it's just those are all the things I love to do. But with the time and the energy that it takes with every engine, you know, and I know that all of you guys can relate to this. Trem was talking about this earlier. I really want to focus back on story again and just take the models that I already have, like I did with the Skarloey Railway compilation, my collab with Isaiah, who did the music. I just do some stories, you know, and just try to put some more content out there. And that's something that I really miss from not being on YouTube for a long time and being able to focus on my career, being able to know how to balance it. You know, that's something I know that many people in the fandom really struggle with or are trying to learn how to grapple. And I think it's a unique case-to-case basis because some people may be in high school, some people may be in college or may have a full-time job and may not always have the time available to be able to do the kind of stuff that we want as a hobby. But there's something for everyone. Always. And I think if you just keep on trying to get in the habit of starting and being able to just practice, it goes a long way of getting more stuff done. You know?
Yeah.
It's such a great
definitely.
Oh, Trent, I didn't mean to talk over you.
Oh no. I think you had something to say too. I'll give you the floor too, Matt, if you like. Definitely.
Oh, Trent, did I talk over you? I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I didn't say anything.
I think before we go any further, I think we should acknowledge the other comer that's here, Wong.
Hey, Wong. Welcome.
Oh, hello. Hello.
Hey there.
Dieter.
Are you guys? Is it both of you?
No, it's just me now, Dieter here.
Well, welcome, Dieter.
Thatcher's still sorry. Thatcher's still experiencing some technical issues. Apparently, his phone doesn't work with Hangouts, and now he has switched to the computer, and he has to download everything now. So might take a while.
Oh, dear.
I had to open my my Hangouts window on Chrome because it wouldn't work on Mozilla Firefox for some reason.
Google. Well, welcome, Dieter. Glad to have you. So, continuing on with the question, what's Dieter? What is a highlight that you have from working in the TCC?
Well, I think it's well, honestly, generally, I wasn't used all that frequently comparing to all of the other more talented users we have here. But I remember...
You were still used a lot.
You were very talented.
Yeah.
First of all, your customs that you shipped to users all over the United States.
Oh, yeah.
TCC on multiple occasions, including that Yang Bao that has captured the hearts of millions. So don't say that.
Yeah.
They are quite ambitious.
Trackmaster or the Playrail version.
Oh, yeah.
I was just going to say that because my most highlighted parts in the TCC, I believe, is not from my own filming, but the fact that my custom actually went to the hands of your more bigger users and use it on screen. Like for the first time, I see my custom Yongbao on the sets of Matt indoors with Trackmaster engines in I forgot, is it Night of the Diesels in the bonus scenes, and it was really awesome.
Rumbling rails too.
Seeing my customs on the big screen, using by other users, like directly interacting with other users, and I really like that.
And Dieter, I will never forget the Halloween special where you did a short bit with an engine shed and you put a 17 on the shed.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Where did that happen? When did that happen?
Hilarious. Like, Dieter, you can be sneaky. Like Jonas with the monkeys. You can be a sneaky person.
Or Jason with Lady.
Who did the... When was the 17 in the TCC?
It was a music video. Wasn't it a shot in a music video like back in like 2016?
It was. It was Percy going in front of the shed and peering in, and instead of the window, there was a printed 17 on there, and you see Percy looking into it. You know.
Ooh. I'm gonna have to go look at that now.
Yeah, that's an example of someone being like an acceptable level of sneaky as opposed to Vinny.
Oh man!
You know what? Something. You know what? That was a highlight of the TCC. Just Matt called me up. And he was like, he was so panicking about it, and I just couldn't help but laugh at this situation that had occurred. Like it was just like this fantastic comedy, like comedy of events or whatever. And like then for Matt to try and blur it and end up blurring all of the faces in the video instead, that made it even better.
Well, I remember that specifically because I color graded the footage to be blue with the overlays with the fog on top. I don't remember you mentioning it to Matt, but we were looking at it together like, oh my goodness, is that a shed reference there? I remember that.
Yeah, I think Steven and I spoke about that, and the night...
yeah, we did.
Yeah, I spoke to you about that, and Jason called me when I blurred all the faces at 3 a.m.
Oh my god.
Like, oh my god!
The funny thing for me about that, I think it was like midnight my time when I called you, Matt. So it was like 2 a.m. for you, and I like called you repeatedly, and then you finally answered. I was like, Matt, this happened, and you're just like,
oh, no.
And this
Just, like,
happened
not
too
having
often with me and Trent, where he told me what to do. He said, Matt, you got to press this button, not the button next to it, but this button, and it'll blur the faces correctly. It'll blur out what you want to blur out. And I pressed the wrong button, of course, and blurred out all the faces. So that was a disaster.
Whoops.
But
Well, all the engines are younger than 18, so we got to.
Good times. Good times.
Well, they weren't good in the moment, but at least we can look back and laugh.
You know, at the time, I never thought I could, but this is the hardest I laughed in 2019 so far. So
Same.
So Trent, is that your final answer? That's your favorite memory?
Yeah, I would say so. That was definitely one of the better memories. Yeah. It's like, I know that for some people we're very worried about it at the time, but I just it was just everything about it was so funny that I just couldn't help but laugh about it. And you know, I feel like that was the best attitude to take, because it all worked out in the end anyway. So
yeah, I mean, that's all you could do at the moment. It was just like, we can just laugh about it because, yeah. Oh, and well, who else hasn't answered?
Oh, I have a funny story, guys.
Oh, let's hear it.
Story time.
So, it was the Trackmaster bridge jump episode.
Oh,
and I was going to shoot it on the top of this viaduct near Pennsylvania. It was an old railway viaduct, and it had this beautiful landscape in the background. And I was preparing for this expedition to carry the playset to the top of this bridge and film it. But I had to film it working. And as we all know with Trackmaster, it can be hit or miss.
It's really hard.
So I was with the producer, and he suggested that I take an extra Thomas just in case. And God bless him, that was the right thing. Because I get up to the top of the bridge, I set up the whole set with my friend, and we're loading Thomas, and we have 2 shots at this. The toy has to work once on screen, or it's all a failure. Like, Mattel only sent us 1.
Right.
So
Was it
Thomas
effective too?
Well, here's the story. So, so Thomas sets up, he goes for the jump, misses, bounces off, and falls off the bridge into the ravine below.
I had a feeling that was going to happen.
Declan gets spooked moment. Oh my goodness.
The bridge jump didn't work, and I only had 1 Thomas left, and if it didn't work, there'd be no episode. So I'm just sitting up there like, everything is on the line, and thank goodness it worked. But when I edited the footage last night, I didn't notice the graffiti where I was filming.
Oh no!
So right in the center of the superstation was the worst swear word you could possibly.
Oh no!
Oh my!
Oh!
So if you guys look at the video now, you will see that a few shots are horribly cropped, and this is why. Because I had to crop around it, and I was horrified because I was about to send the cut to Mattel to review, and that's when I noticed that I had filmed with all this graffiti around.
Yikes!
Goodness.
Oh man!
So at least the bridge jump worked, but not without giving me a heart attack or 2.
Bearing that in mind, would that have been something that wouldn't have been that difficult to mask? Because when I came on the team, I began doing a little bit of 3D tracking. Was it that bad where you couldn't do that?
I know that there were people that could have fixed it. The problem was I noticed like the hour before it was supposed to be sent. So I couldn't.
Oh, and that's even worse.
I
hear
couldn't
you.
burden anyone with that. So it was like one of those things where, well, let's fix it in a way that Matt can fix it in 10 minutes, which isn't always the best way, but it did the job.
Yeah.
You were going to blur the rock, but you blurred everyone else instead.
Dang, all my stories in the TCC feel lame now compared to that.
Oh my God. Oh. You are a gem, Matt. Oh my goodness.
Oh gosh.
Oh.
All right. Does anyone else have any? Has anyone not shared a favorite memory?
I haven't. There's my like. I don't have really one of those moments that you guys had where just something horribly wrong happened. But if I had to, but if I did enjoy something from the TCC, it's seeing the progression of my filming and my sets and my lighting. Because I started way early, like back on like I think it was like the 5th episode. It was like one of those early ones. And like, I remember it was a bonus scene at the docks, and it looking back on it, it was definitely low quality in terms of the lighting and the sets and the backdrop. But as I continued on filming over time, getting this nice backdrop from Steven, which is still, thanks for doing that, by the way.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, and also figuring out which lighting would work and getting just stuff sent in from the driver, from the producer and all that, and getting like tips from you guys. It really helped me on my channel and just help make my videos look better and more professional. So
Oh, I love that. I remember even giving you some tips like the lighting and being able to use LED lights really helps to make the whole setup with lighting look very, very natural because it's white light, and LEDs, they don't heat as much. They're really easy to use. And I have 3 to be able to use now. And you also got the Sony A7 III, right?
It's the Alpha 65.
Oh, that's cool. Because I think it was the Troublesome Truck Trouble. There were some really nice passing shots to Birdie for the first story that was for the compilation video. That was the race between Thomas and Birdie, that you had some really nice shots of him and Elizabeth going along. That was really nice. So you did some really good shots when you upgraded it, and I can see the improvement really skyrocket because you were helping to make your scenes look dimensional and that they had space. You got the center of focus, the locomotives, and you've got the trees, the backdrop in the background with that bokeh. That was really nice to see, the growth, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And Kayla, your Glennock and Elsbridge sets are some of your best sets. Like, they look awesome. I think you showed both of them in your, was it the Island song? I think you did like a music video for 2018.
Are you talking about like a video I just made recently?
Yes.
Kind of. Yeah, it wasn't an Island song. It was just using just random background music, but just like it was just my take on like a simple life on Sodor without all the crazy bridge jumping and explosions and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was. Yeah, I'm really proud with how that video turned out.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah, I really liked how my Elsbridge station turned out. That was actually inspired from Jason's.
Why, thank you.
So thanks for that.
So for my favorite memory, I'm gonna just build on what you were saying. I think, everyone's kind of mentioned about like the TCC was really one of the ways that we all kind of came together and got to expand our circles and friend groups and whatnot. I mean, that was huge for me because I kind of, like I mentioned earlier, like besides, Trent, Matt, and Percy Engine 619 before the TCC, like they were the only ones I talked to. So meeting so many people has been great. I think the other big thing was the TCC pushed me to do so many things filming wise that I would have never done on my own.
Oh yeah, me too.
Which, yeah, at the time was incredibly frustrating and difficult to deal with. But now that like I've done it, it opens up so much potential for my own stuff. Like I've thought in the future, like obviously I'm not going to have like a bridge jump and like crazy crashes and runaways all the time. But like I've thought through now where it's like I could totally do like an epic race in this episode, and like it fits the story, and it's not like out of nowhere or anything. But I could do some really cool stuff with it now because I have the skills to film something like that from my TCC experience. So, yeah, I think that's been a huge thing for me. If you look at the visuals from my channel, they've improved so much with the TCC as well. Like what you said, Taylor, like. If you look at my first stuff in the TCC, it's literally like exactly like my season 2 style with narrow gauge stuff. But it's been fun because getting to film so much, like spending the time and improving the lighting, learning how to color grade and like do all these different things that like I love the style I have now for my series. And I would have never gotten to that point if it wasn't for having the opportunity in the collective to consistently work and improve so much.
Oh, I just remembered something. You know, the very first assignment that I got for facial animation was doing facials for your scene, Jason.
You
the one
blew
where
everyone away with that. That was
I know, right? Well, you guys may remember some of the location videos I did. I did Brendam and I did Timoth. And there were really cool shots from when Duck comes into the series with Percy, Gordon, and James in the shed. I animate Gordon, I animate Percy, and I animate James, Bach characters. And that was one of the very first key times I really got the glare and the look I wanted to really do advanced animation. And that was in college. Fast forward 2016 on your scene, Jason, with the tug of war. That was the first time in years that I tried to decide to have the opportunity to get a test to do a scene from one of the TCC members. And I remember really, really enjoying it. And it took a long time when I was beginning to prep the faces and then keyframe them to become the thing that I got to do every single week. And being able to animate all of the time, it became very, very quick. I loved the process and being able to be familiar with the style of every single shooter and be able to create really entertaining moments with some favorite characters like Scruffy, Merlin, Vinny, as well as the classics like Toby and Henry. And also like with Michelle and Joel performing their GBS characters, I think those are some of my favorites. Merlin and Frankie, that was super fun because I just like, and Will, he did Merlin. And Joel, you did so many really good ones. I mean, like listening to the performance of the actors and bringing that out with the animation was really, really fun. And that's kind of like how I got to know everybody. It just, yeah, good times, man.
Thank you.
And I will never forget when you made Diesel 10 juggle.
Oh my God. That has got to be one of my favorite or the most unique animation that I did. Making him smile casually at the camera, breaking the fourth wall to the audience and making the yellow, blue, and red balls juggle and have them land on his head. That was hilarious. And that for a moment for Diesel 10 on the TCC, that was really, really funny and special. That was really fun.
I knew I was going to lose my dignity on this.
Yes, yes. Oh man, that was priceless.
So guys, I don't mean to cut anyone off, but I do have to go pick up my but Jason, I wanted to say congratulations on 100,000 subscribers. You've worked so hard through the years, and I have learned so much from you over these years, and you have been a big inspiration for me and a lot of other people in this fandom. And I just want to say congratulations and thank you for having me. And thank you everyone for a wonderful talk tonight.
Woohoo!
All right.
Peace out, Matt.
Later.
Take
Later,
care.
Matt.
Thanks,
Later,
Matt. Really appreciate it. Glad you could make it.
I am very glad too, and I don't even know how to hang up. Now I do. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Well,
and with that, guys, I think it's time for me to go as well.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna wrap up the stream in general. I mean, we've been going for nearly 3 hours now. I think we've done enough.
Oh, it's been so fun.
Yeah.
Wait, actually, I think Thatcher's here now. Maybe we should hot him some
Just in
questions.
time for Thatcher.
Yeah, just like before the end of the stream.
Well, if you want, Jason, we could give our favorite and least favorite episodes, maybe.
Yeah. If you guys want to do that, Trent, if you want to head out, we'll chat with you later. Appreciate you coming.
All right, then. Thanks for having me, guys. Congratulations, Jason.
Later,
You earned it.
Take
And,
care, man.
I'll see you guys around. Bye.
All right. See ya.
Later.
Go well.
Later, Jason. Trent.
Hello, Thatcher. Are you there?
So I guess I'll start then.
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. So favorite classic series. I was gonna say Fish, but someone else already said that. So looking back on it, I might say,
There's just so many.
yeah, there's just so many good episodes, and I don't really.
Yeah.
There's not really any episode from the classic series I hate, really, but I mean, if I had to choose one episode that I didn't, my least favorite of the original first 5 seasons, it's actually also probably, I believe it's the very first episode I ever saw, which was Better Late Than Never.
Interesting.
Because I remember getting, it was the Better Late Than Never VHS tape.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it was the first episode, and looking back on it, I don't know. Like, it was an okay episode, but it just didn't really grab me, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, besides like the opening on the viaduct, like that's kind of a fun, time lapse thing. But other than that, the episode's pretty dull overall. I would say, like, nothing like too exciting or memorable takes place. That like, oh yeah, better late than never. Like, yeah.
But yeah, if I had to choose an episode, I would say probably either Escape or Toad Stands By.
Two
Those are
really
good ones.
choices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Who's next?
Oh, God.
I'll just start assigning. Okay, Joel, favorite episode, least favorite episode. Let's hear it.
From the classic series, I'd have to say All at Sea. That's one of my favorites.
Oh, my. I really like that episode, too. I like the episodes that occur on the waterfront. I love the docks ones, all the harbor ones.
Yeah, I really like that one, especially the ending shot, because that's so beautiful to see.
Very beautiful.
Yeah, and I even commented it when Brent Croft shared a picture of a production still or behind the scenes shot of that scene.
Yeah,
and I quoted the movie that last line that George Carlin says, and she responded is like, "Thank you, Joel. You made my day," or something like that.
No, that's
a couple
nice.
years ago. But like for more one of the CGIs, shoot, I'm not sure where to begin because there are some good ones with the CGI episodes.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure where to go.
For me.
Yeah, I may have to go back and everything because I'm actually planning to, because next year or maybe this year, because this year is actually 35 years since the series started on television, isn't it?
Totally true. Good Lord, that's incredible.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try doing like my own little top 10 sort of thing. Like of each season, and then have each top episode duke it out, so to speak. But yeah, but there was the one thing I wanna say is like this was back at like the TCC moments that we were all discussing really quickly. Like one instance I remember, this is when I first met Jason back in 2017, and I was helping with the Superstation episodes. You remember that, Jason?
Sorry, say that again.
You remember back in 2017 when I helped with the first TCC episode?
And wait,
that's the Superstation.
Oh,
the Superstation episode.
Yeah.
We did a few things. That was the first time I met Jason, but we were going to shoot like the Crovan's Gate scene. I helped out with kind of the track layout, but we couldn't do any filming because Matt forgot to send us Henry.
Yeah,
Remember
that was a mess. Like,
yeah,
for the last thing, like I can honestly say that I kind of ended on a low note in the TCC, because I ended roughly around the time that everything drastically changed with the Superstation, and so like that last project was like one of the worst. With like, nope, we have to have Trackmaster engines. Like, nope, we can't film that because we don't have Trackmaster Henry. We got to go do this. We got to do that. Like, and yeah, that was
get the latest product out. Pretty much utilize the latest product. But I'm gonna end because again I'm gonna end here, but because like I said, I can't really think of any best CGI episode at the moment. There, even though there are some good ones, I just can't really think of any at the top of my head. But I want to end with this, like the highlight for me for the TCC, was actually helping to create an episode last Christmas.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I created Rebecca's Christmas Chase. I helped create that.
That was fun to animate. Yeah.
I had an original. The original plot was it was gonna utilize the mail, but Matt changed it to Christmas decorations. But it still worked out either way. It really worked. I liked it, and I even wrote the scenes with Edward and Paxton. That was the highlight for me so far, doing that.
Nice. That's a good one.
Yeah. I think that's it for me.
All right. Who wants to go next?
Sorry if I made things awkward.
Oh, you're good. Let's see. Dieter, Thatcher, one of you guys want to share your favorite?
Since Thatcher says no reply, maybe I should start first.
Okay, yeah, if you could.
Yeah. So for the classic series favorite, well, honestly, I like the visual more than the stories in the classic series. Like, because maybe I like to look at what's going on more than hearing about what's going on. So maybe that explains why I like the TCC a lot better than some of the others, saying that maybe the stories are not so interesting. But I really like the visual that we all worked on. Like Stephen helped with the animation and other users filmed those. So I really enjoyed the visual. So back to the classic series, I really like season 3, 4, and 5 because I think that's when the visual gets a lot better. Like looking back at season 1, some of the scenes look kind of creepy, honestly. So in season 4, what I'm doing right now is that I'm not too familiar with the episodes. So I'm going on to the wiki and search season 4. And oh yeah, the favorite episode, I think it should be the special attraction, because I remember watching that episode when I was really small, and I just can't calm myself down when I saw Percy pushes all those annoying trucks down on the boat rope. And that tower of trucks with boat rope down there is just really hilarious. And yeah, I remember seeing a tweet on Twitter a while ago saying that how many takes did they took to create that perfect scene with all the trucks landing down on boat rope. And as a shooter for both my series and TCC, I really appreciate that hard work they must have put in to pull out that stunt scene.
And just imagine, it could have been one take or multiple takes in order for him to get that shot just right, with the cars specifically falling where they needed to go in his hull. I remember recreating that in HO scale just when I was in my teens, just on my own, off the side of my table. It just doesn't have the same effect. And just watching it, and whether it was slow-mo or something, the timing was just right. And it's watching the rubble fall from the trucks. It's a very pleasing effect. It's just something special about making models and being able to have the operation for them to do certain things you might not be able to do in CGI, you know?
Yeah, they could have really damaged the Bulstrode model too.
Yeah. Reminds me of the crashes between Thomas and Friends, Tugs, and Theodore Tugboat when they had to deal with stuff like that with their models. Like with Thomas, they had to make copies of different engines because of the crashes. Like you look at how many models of Gordon or Thomas or Dahl and Douglas that they would make into scrap engines because they were from different stages in different seasons, right? They even did that in later seasons, like in season 8, season 11, stuff like that, because of those reasons.
Yeah,
cool.
for like, I remember seeing an image for like, there was 2 Hank models for season 12, and that, like you said, there was to utilize for crashes, but also it was because of if one failed, they have a backup.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I remember the behind the scenes description for the Magic Railroad when James dropped and the part of his cab broke. They had to make one fresh in house, completely from scratch for that scene again and film that part all over again. So they didn't have to worry about that. But goodness, yeah.
Well, wait a minute. When did James fall?
Well, it was a take that the filmmakers were making for the shot with DieselD199, but James was backing up. The remote control had turned it on, and he was backing, and then he fell. Actually, Jacob, I think, the Flying Pringle, did a really interesting composite with James actually falling over just for fun. He composited it all himself. Like, what would that look like? That's really funny. Yeah.
I thought that was a joke. I didn't realize that was an actual thing.
It was based off something that really did happen, but there was no footage. There was nothing taken of it, just an account. And I think Jacob recreated that with his compositing skills. Really hilarious. Yeah.
I saw that, but I thought that was just a joke. I didn't realize that was an actual thing. Huh.
Based off of loosely, yeah. Pretty good stuff. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I guess after me, maybe Thatcher should go.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Thatcher. Welcome.
Okay.
Welcome.
Yeah. Just now, just handling those technical problems. Well, if I have to say that, my favorite classic series, is probably those episodes in season 5. And if you have to ask me one particular episode, it should be, I think the Horrid Lorries. Yes, I really enjoyed watching that a lot. It's because those season 5 episodes, they gave me a lot of excitement, and because those stories, they looked really different from the style that they were doing. So, and then because of those effects and also those different elements, I think that the season was actually one of my favorites. And lots of things. Yeah, and I really love those storylines a lot. They're quite exciting, I think.
It's interesting. Trent brought it up earlier with the first group. There were so many possibilities with the routes and the different lines that were created for the different stories that were just seen once and never shown again. Like the lost line that Toby found to the gold mine with Bertram, to the one that Oliver found, like supposedly that looked like Arlesdale Inn, where Toby was originally. And the line, of course, my personal favorite, is the line that the Skarloey Railway adapted to reach the quarry and the ancient sites at with Boulder and the old Iron Bridge. Like, what's the history behind that line? And I know that many fans, like Soto Island Fansite, created those audio dubs. The one on Duncan Gets Spooked and the one Ghosts and Magic, where they named the engine of the Iron Bridge Millhauser. Very, very interesting stuff. I mean, the lore behind season 5 is very, very appealing. With the industrial atmosphere, some of the scariest episodes are in that season. But I like how exciting the pace and the action was for those stories. They took you in places where you never thought Thomas could go, like some of the places you never thought you would go, like the mountainous parts of Sodor, to how remote, how still some of the locations are, and just, you know, the characters and the chemistry between them developing, their attitudes, and still with the quality that made Thomas special, being able to work things out together and try things that the show had never done before, making floods, making creepy effects, being able to make very atmospheric sets. I mean, very, very cool.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I think what makes Thomas really stands out is, like I said, the visual is really realistic. I think even some of the seasons have their own themes. Like for season 2, I remember all the docks scenes were very industrial with all the cranes and cans located behind. And like as Steven just said, in season 4 and 5, it's really industrial. While 3 and 4 is just very green, very beautiful. It's like a great day out on Sodor. And every season even has kind of their own personality in terms of visual. And I think that really makes Thomas stands out. That's really cool.
Very well said. I agree with that. Well, I think I'm the last one, right?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. I mean, like everyone said, there are just so many. The very first VHS tape that I ever got, I remember my grandmother and grandfather gave it to me was Trust Thomas, and I still have it. You know, all the episodes with Mavis and Toby, Henry's Forest. Those were some of my very first favorite episodes I ever remember still, because I liked watching Toby interact with Mavis, and there's just something about Henry in the forest and the music that was really moving and very touching to me. It's funny talking about Big World, Big Adventures now. Back then, with Andrew Bitter making that story, it was just being able to connect with nature and how it incorporates itself with the railway, and having a character react to something they really care about come shuddering down and wondering what to do. And then, you know, Satop Mahat caring enough about the railway in that area to be able to have the funds to be able to replant the trees, and Toby getting a very unique job. This is the best job I ever had, like getting to pull those trucks of the trees. That was a very special episode. And it's just like a teardropper one, like All at Sea, that just has a really touching, moving quality that I really liked a lot. And as a child watching that, that was really, really sweet. Yeah.
I think the visuals really sold that episode. Like, like it's a good story, but like you don't really like feel it until like you actually like you see the beautiful forest that they've created and everything. Like that episode wouldn't be nearly as effective if it was season 8 visuals and whatnot.
I think so too. I agree with you on that. And like the deer in the forest too, like lying on the grass. How poetic the storyline was.
Yeah,
too, yeah,
that's another good one right there. I always felt like that one was very emotional. And I actually, here's a fun fact that I read. Back when SIF was interviewing Andrew Brenner, when he wrote that episode, it was actually based on a real event.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like a hurricane had, from what I read, a hurricane had passed through the United Kingdom, and it had uprooted almost all the trees.
Oh, I think I remember reading that article. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is interesting.
Well, I also think that catapulted the tone of season 3 to even cover the things like on Escape, and with Oliver, and escaping from scrap with tender engines, to that being a lead-in with Rusty to the Rescue and Stepney. You know, I covered 2 very controversial classic series episodes because of the Reverend Audrey's aversion to, you know, realism. But like you just said, and I haven't thought about that for so long because I haven't read that article in a long time, that was based on a real event. And then like that being carried over as a railway in the forest to being a forestry railway, there was some factual basis to it, but it was more concentrated. Like I think what made Andrew Brenner's newer stories shine as much as the classic ones was because it made the audience feel. It made them think. It went and extended itself to the audience in a broader sense to make them feel emotionally connected to the characters and the environment and the locations. And that carried through season 4 with the beautiful scenics and everything like Thatcher Wan talked about to the actual season 5. I think those are the qualities that helped make me grow with Thomas and Friends. Like as a teenager, seeing the action and the fast-paced excitement of the season 5 was really, really cool to see. And then come back from season 6 was really cool. Like after Thomas and the Magic Railroad coming back for more classic series, hey, we're back. You know, that's from the Salty Secret VHS tape I got. that was a really cool thing that I enjoyed watching the Thomas series.
Yeah.
And I mean, for it to last that long, for us to even ponder, like, what is our favorite episodes? For it to be last 80 years as a story, a narrative, that's pretty huge, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've been going for almost 3.5 hours now.
Wow.
I've got to call it a night on this. But
I think we should too.
I sincerely appreciate each of you guys coming in and joining this stream. This has been great. This has been a lot of fun catching up with so many of you guys.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We'll probably catch up some more later on, Jason.
Yes, we definitely need to.
We need more Skype calls.
Yeah.
Yeah, if school wasn't so busy, I would be doing it a lot more often. Holy cow! Like I haven't even. I've been trying to get through those Q&As on my YouTube channel, but I haven't streamed in like a week because I spent this past week. I've got a 1 credit hour class that I'm in that's online, and I'm trying to get it done. I tried to do it within a week, and I'm almost done. I just have to take the final exam, so it's been crazy.
Wow.
You're on your last semester, aren't you?
No, I will. This is my second to last semester. I'll graduate in December.
Okay.
Cool. Awesome.
Getting there.
Well, dude, Jason, I hope you accomplish what you set your mind to do. You're the best, and I really hope that things come out the way that you want to, man, and that it's just a bright year for you because you deserve it. Congratulations again on your accomplishment for YouTube. Keep on doing what you love, and just enjoy the process.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I can't thank you guys enough. I really appreciate it. It's been a great journey, and I hope that this stream has been fun for not only you guys, I hope everyone in the chat or everyone who's tuned in throughout the course of it have enjoyed it too, just as a fun way to celebrate. I wish that I'm happy I was able to do like the giveaway. Still got to finish up that and whatnot, but I'm glad I was able to do something at least to say thank you and more than just, saying words for it, because it's truly so wonderful to have so many people who enjoy my work and my content. Really, you guys make it worth it, and so I'm glad I'm able to do this live stream. Glad I could do the giveaway, and just be able to share the fun with you guys as well.
Good times, man. Thanks for inviting us.
Yes,
thank you. Thank you very much, Jason.
Well, thank you for joining. We'll have to chat later.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Absolutely, man. You take care.
All right. See you guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. See you guys.
Peace out.
A TTFN, a ta-ta for now.